Chapter 421, Giant Black Crow Stone. Enhancing divine consciousness is good, but when it's not entirely free of side effects, it's somewhat debatable. This price already exceeds the value of an ordinary spirit essence. Moreover, the Blue Fox auctioneer didn't specify what kind of plant this spirit essence was derived from, which implies two possibilities: either the ancestral court doesn't know what plant it came from, or the plant that produced this spirit essence isn't particularly powerful. Either way, it reduces its value. For example, if the Blue Fox auctioneer had clearly stated that it was derived from a top-tier spirit clan plant bloodline, its value would be entirely different. 1,500 element coins, third call. Congratulations to bidder number 336. Successfully securing it, Tang San immediately breathed a sigh of relief, his face revealing joy. As expected, his luck was truly exceptional. The first auction item was already greatly useful to him. This was truly excellent news. Tang San, you don't have to do this. I know my own talents. Although we earned a lot this time, we still need to spend wisely. At this moment, Zhang Haoshuan's voice came through. Tang San immediately understood that his teacher had misunderstood. But at a time like this, he couldn't exactly say to his teacher, "Teacher, you're overthinking it." "Teacher, the spirit essence has other uses, not just for consumption. I'll explain in detail when we get back," Tang San explained simply. On the other side, in auction room 338, Zhang Haoshuan was stunned for a moment and said somewhat awkwardly, Oh, we'll talk about it when we get back." Tang San hadn't wanted to discourage his teacher, but he was afraid that if he didn't clarify, his teacher might settle the bill, take the item, and directly consume it, which would be troublesome. Next, we present the second auction item. When the second auction item was brought up, its size was much larger. Judging from the red cloth covering it, it was at least 1 cubic meter in volume. Today's second auction item is a mineral. This mineral is likely familiar to all esteemed guests. It's called Black Crow Stone. Black Crow Stone itself isn't particularly valuable, but a Black Crow Stone of such immense size and exceptional quality is, I believe, something everyone is seeing for the first time. As she spoke, the Blue Fox auctioneer lifted the red cloth covering the second auction item. When Tang San heard the words, Black Crow Stone, a trace of astonishment appeared on his face. Back at the Redemption Academy's shop, the first time he picked up a bargain, it was Black Crow Stone he bought. To be precise, it was black gold, unrecognized by the demon and spirit clans of this world. Through high-temperature forging, Black Crow Stone could be refined into black gold, which had powerful penetrating and indestructible properties. Tang San had used the Black Crow Stone he bought at auction, along with more he later acquired from the market, to forge various hidden weapons for his companions. He hadn't expected to see this metal again at today's rare items auction. The red cloth was lifted, revealing a massive Black Crow Stone to all the bidders' eyes. It was an extremely intact Black Crow Stone, nearly 2 cubic meters in volume, with an irregular shape, entirely black, yet exuding a deep, intrinsic sense. The Black Crow Stones he had bought before were at most a dozen kilograms each, but this one, based on his understanding of Black Crow Stone's density, weighed at least several tons. No wonder it took multiple Bear Clan members pushing the cart to bring it to the center of the Grand Arena. Black Crow Stone is known for its hardness. A Black Crow Stone of this size is the first of its kind in recorded history. It has been personally inspected by king-level beings, who fatally sensed some special energy within it combined with its enormous size. It's preliminarily suspected that this Black Crow Stone may have the potential to develop spiritual intelligence. Developing spiritual intelligence means it's likely to face a heavenly tribulation and transform into a spirit, possibly even a king level 1. That's why it's been brought here as a rare item. The ancestral court can guarantee that energy fluctuations have indeed been detected within it. However, whether it can give rise to a spirit and what kind of being it would become is for the esteemed guests to judge. The starting bid is 300 element coins. Undoubtedly, this item carried even greater uncertainty than the previous spirit essence, so its starting bid was much lower. Black Crow Stone wasn't rare on the demon spirit continent, and its price wasn't high. Even if it could cultivate into a spirit, how much value would it have? Subduing such a spirit as a vassal. If it could truly come into being, 300 element coins would be worth it, considering it would be a king level being. However, the likelihood of it becoming king level was low, and it would still need to survive a heavenly tribulation. Passing a tribulation, how easy was that? In the eyes of demon and spirit clans, Black Crow Stone wasn't exactly a powerful foundation. Thus, when the Blue Fox auctioneer announced the starting bid, a rare silence fell. No bidder made an offer for this Black Crow Stone. Seeing this, the Blue Fox auctioneer couldn't help but frown slightly. From her own perspective, she didn't think this Black Crow Stone was worth bringing to the auction, and 300 element coins wasn't a low price. Who would be foolish enough to spend so much on such a thing? But it was indeed the largest Black Crow Stone ever excavated, according to records. She could only say again, this Black Crow Stone has been tested for hardness and is far harder than any known Black Crow Stone, indicating its exceptional quality. If it becomes a spirit, its defensive capabilities would likely be outstanding, with a good chance of surviving the tribulation. Silence, still silence. Those who could attend the auction were all highly discerning. The rare items auction differed from yesterday's spiritual items auction. The rare items day often saw high prices paid for junk, though there were also cases of lucky bargains. But generally, the rare items day wasn't as significant as the spiritual items day, let alone the final divine items auction. Thus, the second day's auction had always been the least successful in terms of transactions at the ancestral court grand auction. For an item so hard to judge for value, it wasn't unheard of for it to go unsold. 300 element coins, bidder number 336 has bid. Thank you, bidder number 336. The Blue Fox auctioneer had been ready to count down and let the item go unsold, but a bid appeared on the crystal screen before her. It was none other than number 336, who had secured the spirit essence. Someone bid on this thing. That was the thought in many bidders' minds. Yes, Tang San had bid. If priced by total volume, ordinary Black Crow Stone, even 5 times this amount, wouldn't be worth 300 element coins. But after hearing the auctioneer's introduction, Tang San was ready to bid. If he wasn't worried about other bidders noticing and competing with him, he would have bid immediately. Only those who understood a true treasure knew its value. 300 element coins, first call. 300 element coins, second call, third call, sold. The Blue Fox auctioneer didn't delay further. She knew it was already fortunate that this item didn't go unsold, so she quickly concluded the auction, allowing Tang San to secure another desired item. 2 consecutive wins, though not particularly high-value items, still drew some attention to number 336 among the bidders. The auction continued, and the next few items fully displayed the characteristics of rare items. They were truly bizarre, things like an unknown meteorite falling from the sky, a giant egg with life aura, and a massive pearl from the endless blue sea, among others. However, these held little value in Tang San's eyes. The giant egg fetched a high price of 2,000 element coins. Tang San didn't bid, though the egg indeed contained a strong life aura. He could determine it was likely a hybrid creature. More importantly, Tang San sensed that the egg's mental fluctuations didn't match its life aura. The life aura was indeed strong, but the mental fluctuations were weak, meaning the creature inside, even if strong, had little chance of developing intelligence, making it at most a demonic beast, not a demon. Chapter 422, Foxtail Relic. The giant egg was ultimately sold for a high price of 2,000 element coins. The rare items sent to the Ancestral Court Grand Auction were carefully selected, and there were indeed many fine pieces. Tang San was particularly interested in some rare minerals, some of which even the demon and spirit clans who consigned them didn't recognize. Among these were items Tang San favored. He later bid himself or had Zhang Haoshuan bid, securing a few low-priced minerals. These were a key goal for him at this auction. Next, our auction item is likely the smallest in size at this auction, but its value is quite considerable. Frankly, if possible, I'd dearly love to acquire it myself, as it holds extraordinary significance for our Fox clan. A card was brought up. Judging from the shape of the red cloth covering it, there seemed to be only a tray beneath, with the item not even protruding above the tray's surface, clearly very small. The Blue Fox auctioneer's expression was somewhat complex. From her eyes, it was clear that what she had just said came from her heart. What could a rare item related to the Fox clan be? The Blue Fox auctioneer didn't immediately pull off the red cloth on the card. Instead, she first bowed deeply toward it with respect. Only then did she carefully grasp both sides of the cloth with both hands, gently lifting it to reveal the item beneath. A faint, colorful glow emanated from the tray on the cart, the seven-colored halo giving a peculiar sensation. From the mountain, without vision like Tang San's, it was nearly impossible to see what the auction item was. Its size was simply too small. Tang San, using his purple demon eye combined with the heavenly spirit eye's enhancement, could barely make it out. On the card were three spike-like objects, transparent and needle-thin, emitting a faint seven-colored sheen, giving a very peculiar feeling. Even with Tang San's knowledge, he couldn't immediately identify what these were. The Blue Fox auctioneer, with a complex expression, said, "These three are treasures of our entire Fox clan. They are consigned for auction by the Red Fox clan. If there are any esteemed guests from our clan here, please make every effort to bring them back to the Fox clan." Just after saying this, she seemed to sense something, her face changing slightly, a trace of helplessness and melancholy flashing in her eyes. She continued, "This auction item is called the Foxtail Relic. In our Fox clan, only those of great power and virtue can produce such relics after their remains are incinerated upon death. The Foxtail Relic holds immense symbolic significance for our clan. Ancestors who could produce Foxtail Relics were invariably those who made significant contributions to our clan. The Red Fox clan, due to extreme financial hardship in recent years, to prevent more clansmen from becoming playthings, has brought these three Foxtail Relics to auction to improve the clan's livelihood. The Foxtail Relic has the effect of calming the mind and spirit, ensuring the holder never suffers from inner demons or bloodline backlash, especially when absorbing essence blood, serving as an excellent aid. It is a rare and precious treasure. The starting bid is 1,000 element coins." In auction room 336, Tang San's gaze remained fixed on the three Foxtail Relics. They gave him a peculiar feeling. Observing their luck, they displayed a faint golden hue, a color Tang San had only seen on himself, though his was a platinum pillar soaring upward, while these Foxtail Relics were a subdued gold. Within this faint gold, Tang San could faintly discern a trace of red. Though he dared not probe with his divine consciousness, he could clearly sense that these three Foxtail Relics were extremely divine existences. Of course, the price of good things was never cheap. These three Foxtail Relics were, so far, the most expensive item. A starting bid of 1,000 element coins was quite costly. Avoiding bloodline backlash and inner demons wasn't useful for all demon or spirit clans. Tang San immediately thought that if the Liger clan had obtained this before meeting him, it would have been greatly helpful, at least in controlling their bloodline conflicts. 1,100 element coins. A bid came immediately. Clearly, the value of the Foxtail Relics, combined with the Blue Fox auctioneer's plea for the Fox clan, had an effect. 1,200 element coins. The price began to climb. Foxtail Relics were likely rare, or perhaps had never appeared before. Though the price increased, it wasn't particularly fast, as bidders were evidently hesitant. "Teacher, do you know about Foxtail Relics?" Tang San sent a message to Zhang Haoshuan. "Never heard of them," Zhang Haoshuan replied without hesitation. "This thing seems questionable. Is it really useful? Inner demons might affect spirit clan cultivation, but I haven't heard much about them in demon clans, as their cultivation is direct bloodline evolution. As for bloodline backlash, with a strong enough bloodline, not randomly consuming other essence blood should prevent issues. This thing feels somewhat useless." Tang San narrowed his eyes. His view of the three Foxtail Relics differed significantly from Zhang Haoshuan's. Their true function was likely far greater than what the Blue Fox auctioneer described. Otherwise, it wouldn't have this starting bid. 1,800 element coins. The price was nearing double. 2,000 element coins, thank you, bidder number 336. Yes, Tang San had bid again. At this moment, his eyes were filled with determination. These three Foxtail Relics were now an item he was resolute to obtain. 2,100 element coins. The Blue Fox auctioneer seemed tense after Tang San's bid. Since number 336 had secured the god-slaying sword yesterday, it likely belonged to the Lion or Tiger clan, not the Fox clan. She genuinely didn't want these three Foxtail Relics to fall into outsider hands. 2,300 element coins. Tang San bid again. 2,400 element coins. There was still a competitor. At this price, only one voice remained contending with Tang San. 2,600 element coins. Tang San directly added 200. 2,700 element coins. The opponent followed. 3,000 element coins. Tang San calmly entered this price. When the price of 3,000 element coins appeared, the entire venue fell silent. This set a new record for today's auction prices. Were three Foxtail Relics really worth 3,000 element coins? That meant each needle-like relic cost over 1,000 element coins, an unimaginable sum. The competitor finally gave up, no longer bidding. Clearly, 3,000 was beyond their limit. 3,000 element coins. Any further bids from esteemed guests? The Blue Fox auctioneer diligently searched for competitors. Unfortunately, for these three Foxtail Relics, this price was evidently the limit, and no further bids came. Third call, sold. As the Blue Fox auctioneer dropped the hammer, her body seemed drained of strength, looking somewhat lost. The three Foxtail Relics were taken away, and the auctioneer on stage was replaced. Still a Blue Fox, but with noticeably better spirit. In auction room 336, Tang San also breathed a slight sigh of relief. This item might not be as useful in others' hands, but in his, it would be of great use. Chapter 423, Stone of Slowness. This time, Zhang Haoshuan didn't question why Tang San spent so much money on this thing. He chose to trust his disciple. After all, those 30,000 element coins were earned by Tang San. The auction continued, with rare items appearing frequently, but Tang San kept a low profile from then on. For items he was interested in, he had his teacher bid, taking them if the price was right and giving up if it wasn't, without pursuing aggressively. As time passed, when the sun began to set in the west, today's auction was gradually nearing its end. A full day of bidding was no small drain on energy. The auctioneers had changed several times. For the bidders, constantly focusing on the items was also tiring. However, everyone was waiting, anticipating the appearance of the final few auction items. From yesterday's spiritual items auction, it was clear that today's rare items auction's finale would not disappoint. This was a rare opportunity. Next, we will begin the auction of the final 3 items of today. These last 3 are, without exception, true treasures. Let's present the third to last auction item. It was finally here. The bidders, who had been somewhat drowsy, all perked up, especially those with substantial wealth. Yesterday's final 3 items were undoubtedly shocking: the Stone of Protection, the Celestial Yang Flower, and Tang San's Time Array Disc. Though the Time Array Disc had the lowest price, it held the greatest significance, setting a precedent. So, what kind of treasures would the final 3 rare items be today? This was something all bidders eagerly anticipated. A card was pushed into the arena. The moment it entered, the entire venue seemed to stagnate. What was this thing? Tang San looked intently. When his gaze fell on the card, he immediately felt his thoughts slow. The 4 Bear Clan members pushing the card were clad in heavy armor made of special metal. Judging from the size of the item on the card, it didn't seem too large. The card was pushed to the center of the arena, but the auctioneer retreated to a farther position. When she spoke again, everyone sensed an even stranger situation. Esteemed guests, the next rare item is very peculiar. It is a mineral, likely from a meteorite from beyond the heavens. When it was discovered, it produced very peculiar effects. Later, it was sent to the ancestral court and has been kept by the ancestral court. Several demon emperors have studied it, but none have uncovered the reason for its special effects. The Blue Fox auctioneer's words were extremely slow, halting and intermittent, as if her speech was affected clearly by this auction item. What kind of existence could cause such a state? Slowed speech. Of course, it wasn't just that. All bidders looking at this item felt their thoughts slow. The ancestral courts, majesties, call it the Stone of Slowness. Within a certain range of it, everything becomes slow, but the flow of time is unaffected. We invited Time Crocodile Clan experts to examine it, and even their time control couldn't alter its surrounding effects. Among the rare items held by the ancestral court, this is absolutely among the most wondrous. If its true nature could be fully understood, it might already be a divine item. When a piece of its body is cut off, the cut portion's slowness effect diminishes greatly. Please look. As she spoke, the auctioneer signaled the Bear Clan members in protective gear to lift the red cloth. The cloth was lifted, revealing a head-sized mineral on the card. The mineral was yellowish-brown, with an uneven surface resembling crystals. No light emanated from within, but when perceived with mental energy, it gave a murky sensation, affecting a considerable range, seemingly within a 100-meter diameter. An unknown rare item, that was its classification, but its effect undeniably proved its value. As one of the final 3 highlight items, it was well deserved. Starting bid 5,000 element coins, with each increment based on 500. The auctioneer struggled to announce the bidding rules, then slowly raised her hand to signal the start of the auction. The venue fell into complete silence. No bidders made an offer. The reason for the lack of bids was simple: the item's function was unclear. Yes, no one knew what to do with it. 5,000 element coins was no small sum. Spending so much on an unknown rare item was indeed extravagant. Even demon emperors couldn't discern its function or origin, nor how to use it. Were the bidders stronger than demon emperors? This item was indeed extremely peculiar, but also somewhat useless. Clearly, it wasn't suitable for crafting weapons or anything else, as it would slow the user too. The Bear Clan member's armor was likely made of heavy lead to partially block the slowness effect. Using it for a weapon, don't joke. A ranged attack from an opponent would hit you while you're slowed. Slowness might be useful in specific situations, but only if the user wasn't affected. How could you use it if you were slowed too? In fact, the Time Crocodile Clan had been very interested in this item, but they were relatively poor and couldn't afford it. The ancestral court let them study it for a time, but they found no results, and it was taken back. Ultimately, after multiple failed studies, it was sent to today's rare items auction. Among all the bidders present, if there was one interested in it, it was probably Tang San in auction room 336. At this moment, Tang San's eyes could be described as gleaming with excitement. Indeed, on this plane, no emperor recognized this so-called Stone of Slowness, but as a former god king and master of the Douluo God realm, Tang San knew it. This wasn't some Stone of Slowness, it was clearly a space-time beacon. This thing shouldn't even exist in a plane like this, it belonged to a god realm. It was used in god realms to measure time flow rates across different planes. In a god realm, it wasn't particularly precious and didn't have this slowness trait, serving only as a time regulator. But in a plane outside a god realm, it was entirely different. It was hard to imagine how it came to this plane, but this space-time beacon was remarkably large. Normal space-time beacons were only the size of a fingernail, crafted into specific shapes for time measurement. A space-time beacon this large didn't even exist in the Douluo God realm Tang San once belonged to. Chapter 424, Space-Time Beacon. What did this mean? It meant this space-time beacon was likely in its original form, not originating from a god realm but naturally formed in the universe, somehow landing on this plane. A space-time beacon of this size was beyond valuation. Simply put, even for a newly formed god realm, such a large space-time beacon could last tens of thousands of years. It was sufficient for expanding territory over a vast range, playing a crucial role in a god realm controlling multiple planes and drawing nourishment from them. It might be useless in the hands of demon emperors, but if it fell into Tang San's hands, he knew how to handle a space-time beacon. At this moment, Tang San's mood was somewhat anxious. He was genuinely afraid that another demon emperor would suddenly appear, say, "I want it," and offer an astronomical price. If he wasn't worried about being detected by the Heavenly Fox Great Demon Emperor, Tang San would have wanted to bless himself with luck right now. Fortunately, the competitor he feared didn't appear. The venue remained completely silent. No one was willing to spend 5,000 element coins on a useless item. If no esteemed guests bid, then this item will, unfortunately. Just as the Blue Fox auctioneer was about to end the auction, a bid appeared. Number 336, 5,000 element coins, the auctioneer said with surprise in her slowed voice. Tang San had acted. The space-time beacon was something he had to secure, even if it meant spending everything. In the hands of demon emperors, it was useless, but in his hands, after his modifications, it would be a divine artifact, a true divine artifact. He hadn't expected this plane to have so many treasures. It was truly exhilarating. With today's gains, Tang San was completely satisfied with this grand auction, even exceeding his expectations. Securing this space-time beacon meant he could skip the last 2 highlight items and still be absolutely content. After a laborious 3 calls, the hammer fell. Tang San secured the so-called Stone of Slowness without any risk. Breathing a huge sigh of relief, Tang San's face was filled with satisfaction. He was even somewhat eager to rush over and take the space-time beacon into his hands to feel at ease. When the space-time beacon was taken away, the Blue Fox auctioneer finally let out a big sigh of relief, free from the earlier slowed state. Someone actually bought this thing. And it was that mysterious number 336. This bidder had probably spent nearly 10,000 element coins by now. The auctioneer couldn't help but glance toward Tang San's direction. Tang San didn't want to be so high profile, but faced with irresistible treasures, he couldn't care less. Tang San took out another communicator, put it on his ear, infused it with bloodline power, and activated the connection. Brother Shu, is it possible for the master to receive the payment for yesterday's bloodline array disc now? The master bought some items at the auction and will need to settle the bill later. This communicator naturally came from the heavenly spirit chamber. For Tang San, the auction was effectively over, but he needed to pay for all his auctioned items before leaving. No problem. We've already prepared it. When does the master want it? We'll wait for him at the Grand Arena's settlement area. Tang San said, I'll represent the master to settle. Right away, after the rare items auction ends. Sorry to trouble you, Brother Shu. The master is very satisfied with this auction. Unfortunately, crafting the time array disc was too difficult, and the master said it was only through great luck that it succeeded this time. If you have any good essence blood in the future, you can have the master try again. Of course, thank the master for me. This time truly opened our eyes. The one who got the bloodline array disc was the Heaven Pass chamber. Their cash flow will likely be strained for a while, haha. Please ask the master to take good care of us in the future. Any essence blood the master needs, as long as we have it, we can prioritize it for him, deducting its value when the final array disc is delivered. The time array disc had caused a massive shock at this auction. Though the grand auction wasn't over, the heavenly spirit chamber had already received many orders and inquiries, stealing the spotlight for the moment. Shuzaran's desired effect was fully realized. And this was just the beginning. Tang San had given them more than just the time array disc, there were many other array discs. The time array disc was unique, but the other array discs were quite impressive too. With the time array disc's sky-high price, the value of these other discs naturally soared, ensuring the heavenly spirit chamber would profit massively. In this situation, the heavenly spirit chamber's reliance on this array master reached its peak. While Tang San was talking with Shuzaran, the second-to-last rare item was brought to the auction stage. It was a fossil, or more precisely, a skeleton. An enormous skeleton. Judging by its shape, it resembled a dragon but lacked wings. The auction for today's second-to-last rare item is this skeleton. A legendary sea dragon clan skeleton. Judging by its size, this sea dragon was likely a true overlord of the sea, a great demon king level existence. If we don't consider the possible sea god who emerged in Jiali City, this one was likely the strongest in the endless blue sea. It's said that sea dragon clan skeletons contain bone marrow that is a great tonic, beneficial for nurturing any bloodline, especially water attribute bloodlines, with immense help. This skeleton, evaluated by several majesties, is highly active and definitely contains bone marrow. Its bones are also treasures, suitable for crafting weapons. The starting bid is 5,000 element coins. 5,500 element coins. A bid came immediately. Compared to the previous, Stone of Slowness, the value of the sea dragon great demon king skeleton was much easier to gauge. Its durable bones could be used for weapons, and its marrow was a precious tonic. This was undoubtedly a top-tier rare item, far easier to utilize, and in the hands of a skilled craftsman, its value would shine brilliantly. Tang San was also interested in this item if the bone marrow was as miraculous as described. Using it for his eldest martial brother would significantly enhance his bloodline power. The only pity was that his eldest martial brother had an ice attribute, so a water attribute would be less helpful. When the bidding surpassed 10,000 element coins, Tang San gave up the idea of bidding. The cost effectiveness was too low. He'd rather save the money for something else. As for crafting weapons from sea dragon bones, Tang San wasn't interested. Though durable, they lacked toughness, inferior to the top-grade alloys he could forge himself. With the massive black crow stone he'd acquired, he was already fully satisfied. Ultimately, the sea dragon great demon king skeleton sold for 16,000 element coins. Next is our final auction item today, the concluding item of the rare items auction day. Let's present it. The previous item took a long time, mainly because transporting the sea dragon skeleton was laborious. It had been lowered from the sky, specially approved by the ancestral court and transported by flying demon clans. It took great effort to remove it. Tang San had already stood up from his auction room. Unless this final item was incredibly compelling, he was ready to leave, eager to return to Jiali City as soon as possible. A massive cart was slowly pushed into the arena. When it entered, even from the mountain, one could clearly feel the temperature in the air rapidly dropping. Ice Attribute, Chapter 425, Frozen Throne. Tang San was stunned for a moment. Having already stood up, he sat back down. This time at the ancestral court, he had found suitable treasures for his other companions, but lacked something for his eldest martial brother, Wu Bingji. And now, this final rare item was actually ice attributed. Couldn't it be perfect for his eldest martial brother? The cart was pushed to the center of the arena. The cart alone was over 10 meters in diameter, with the red cloth rising high, indicating that the item beneath was no small thing. Today's final auction item comes from a majesty who has already undergone nirvana, the former Celestial Ice Great Demon Emperor. When the Celestial Ice Great Demon Emperor passed away in nirvana, she left behind some rare items. This is one of them, the Frozen Throne. The Ice Maiden clan, due to the fall of the Celestial Ice Great Demon Emperor, has been in decline. Their numbers are dwindling. To ensure the clan's survival, they have brought out this supreme treasure, hoping the resources gained from it can revive the Ice Maiden clan. As she spoke, the auctioneer lifted the red cloth. Instantly, a powerful chill made all the bidders feel a piercing cold. It was truly bone-chilling, and the temperature in the entire grand arena dropped below zero in an instant. The Frozen Throne was not just a massive chair. Below it was a large circular base, and at the center of the base stood a giant chair shimmering with ice blue light. Behind the chair was a backdrop of 108 slender ice spears forming an ice wall. The bone-piercing cold made everyone present shiver uncontrollably. Undoubtedly, this Frozen Throne must have come from the palace of the former Celestial Ice Great Demon Emperor. It was a true treasure of the Ice Maiden clan. The Ice Maiden clan was a branch of the spirit races, and legend has it that the first Ice Maiden emerged from 10,000-year-old mysterious ice, formed from condensed ice essence. Wu Bingji's ice spirit transformation came from this clan. The Ice Maiden clan wasn't without males, but it was a matriarchal clan, hence the name. Their biggest issue was the difficulty in producing offspring, requiring long years. This was why their clan's survival was now so challenging. After the Celestial Ice Great Demon Emperor's passing, the Ice Maiden clan clashed with a powerful fire-attributed clan from the outer seas, losing many members and falling into decline ever since. To bring out the Frozen Throne showed how dire the Ice Maiden clan's situation had become. Like the Red Fox clan with the Foxtail relic, this was a desperate move. The Frozen Throne before them was indeed worthy of being today's true finale. Its value to those with ice-attributed bloodlines was immeasurable, absolutely at the divine item level. The starting bid is 10,000 element coins, with each increment based on 1,000 element coins. For this auction item, at the request of the Ice Maiden clan, we invite the current Ice Maiden clan leader to personally take the stage. As she spoke, the blue fox auctioneer quickly retreated to the side, her body still trembling slightly. Being too close to the frozen throne was simply too cold. An ice blue light silently arrived, landing on the base of the frozen throne. It was a woman who looked very peculiar. Her figure was almost indistinguishable from a human's, the only difference being her skin color. Her hair was ice blue, her skin as white as snow, crystal clear with a crystalline texture. She stood over 1 meter 80, with a slender, graceful frame. She wore a pure white long dress, her eyes a clear ice blue. Just one glance at her conveyed a deep, heartfelt chill. Her gaze shifted, her deep eyes looking at the frozen throne beside her, filled with reluctance and melancholy. Her lips were tightly pressed, and she didn't speak immediately. One could imagine the inner struggle this Ice Maiden clan leader faced in bringing the frozen throne to auction. But she had no choice. If she didn't do this, the Ice Maiden clan was not far from extinction. Tang San observed from afar. Through his observation and mental perception, he could sense that this clan leader wasn't even a great demon king, likely just at the demon king level. This was a clan that had once produced a great demon emperor. But Tang San knew that the ice spirit transformation was only a third-tier bloodline, at best peak third tier, not reaching second tier. He didn't know how the celestial ice great demon emperor had emerged in the past. The Ice Maiden clan's secrets were unknown, but undoubtedly, their current situation was quite dire. The frozen throne, with a starting bid of 10,000 element coins. This was absolutely a great item, and its help to his eldest martial brother would undoubtedly be immense. But could he really secure it? The throne of a former great demon emperor, likely more than just a throne. Its true value, if acquired, would be enormous. Tang San narrowed his eyes slightly. At a time like this, he couldn't care about much else. He probably couldn't afford the frozen throne outright, as they only had a little over 10,000 element coins left. That amount was definitely not enough to buy the frozen throne. Taking a deep breath, a glint flashed in Tang San's eyes. He took an item from his storage ring. Then, focusing his mental energy, he sent a message to the Ice Maiden clan leader in the arena. Clan leader, please do not auction the throne. I am willing to sponsor your clan's revival and have a way to solve your clan's reproduction problem. A simple message, with Tang San's mental strength, naturally reached the Ice Maiden clan leader's ears clearly. Undoubtedly, such a message would be noticed by sufficiently powerful beings. But no rule prohibited messaging. However, Tang San immediately felt over 10 divine consciousnesses sweeping toward him. He stood up, raising the item he had just taken out high. Instantly, a beam of light radiated from the item in his hand, and the divine consciousnesses scanning him retreated as if shocked. The Ice Maiden clan leader's divine consciousness was among them. When her consciousness and gaze focused on Tang San and the item in his hand, a spark of light appeared in her previously sorrowful eyes, and she nodded toward him. Not selling. As she spoke, an ice blue light flashed from her hand, and the frozen throne instantly turned into a stream of ice blue light, silently merging into her body and disappearing. At the same time, intricate ice blue patterns appeared on her skin, and her aura surged to the great demon king level. She nodded toward Tang San's direction, hearing his message again in her ear. The next moment, the Ice Maiden clan leader floated away. The blue fox auctioneer was dumbfounded. Only god-level beings understood what had just happened. But if someone chose not to sell, it couldn't be forced. For a moment, the three mountains buzzed with noise. Tang San didn't linger. He quickly messaged Zhang Haoshuan, telling him he would settle the bill first and take what he could. Then he would leave for a while, returning to the ancestral court in 2 to 5 days to regroup with him. After giving these instructions, Tang San quickly stood and left. He definitely wouldn't participate in the divine items auction. Today had already exceeded his plans, making him a bit too conspicuous. The rare items auction day ended here. Although many bidders were extremely dissatisfied that the frozen throne wasn't auctioned, it was, after all, the decision of a clan leader, and it was permitted by the grand auction. Before the hammer falls, consigners have the right to withdraw their items, but they must pay a penalty, approximately 1/10 of the starting bid. That meant the Ice Maiden clan would need to pay 1,000 element coins. What had Tang San held up just now? Chapter 426, Settling the Bill. To scare off numerous probing divine consciousnesses and make the Ice Maiden clan leader withdraw the auction without hesitation, it naturally required significant weight. What he held up was a mirror, the crystal mirror of the crystal great demon emperor. Pulling the tiger's skin to make a banner, it was that simple. As the token of the world's foremost great demon emperor, who wouldn't give face? The crystal great demon emperor's crystal mirrors were few in number. Their holders were considered the emperor's favorite, able to represent her to some extent. Moreover, who would dare risk offending the crystal great demon emperor by questioning Tang San, who held the crystal mirror? Didn't they see, during yesterday's spiritual items auction, when the crystal great demon emperor appeared, the two contending emperors fell silent, and even the heavenly fox great demon emperor only appeared after she left. This top-ranked great demon emperor was absolutely authoritative among her peers. Tang San wasn't worried about what the crystal great demon emperor might do to him. He understood that, at her level, she couldn't have failed to notice his presence at the auction. Since she hadn't sought him out or demanded Jingjing back, it meant he was at least temporarily safe. After all, he was likely already her pawn, why not make good use of it? Quickly descending the mountain, he inquired with the staff and headed straight to the settlement area. He needed to leave immediately, partly for Meigongzi, but now also to quickly take these acquired treasures back to a safe place. When the grand arena was used for auctions, the settlement area was in a waiting zone within the arena. Few bidders left before the divine items auction ended, as even if they couldn't afford divine items, watching broadened their horizons. So when Tang San arrived, no other bidders had left. He stated his purpose and presented his bidder's badge. The staff checked his badge and cross-referenced the items he won, and their gaze toward Tang San immediately changed. At that moment, a familiar figure arrived. Shu, brother, you're leaving already. Shu Zuran didn't call out Tang San's full name. At the auction, protecting one's privacy was crucial. Tang San nodded, saying, yes, I'm here to serve the master. The master's desired items have been acquired, so it's time for me to go. Shu Zuran handed Tang San a ring. The ring was dark silver, simple in style, with a yellow crystalline gem embedded in it, it's all in there. You can settle with them directly. We really owe it to the master this time. We'll need to strengthen our cooperation in the future. Are you staying in the ancestral court after taking the items, or heading back to Jiali City? Tang San said, I'll stay in the ancestral court for a few more days, probably returning to Jiali City in about a week. What about you, brother Shu? Are you heading back or? Shu Zuran said, I'll be in the ancestral court for a while. Let's catch up when I'm back in Jiali City. If the master has any needs, you can go directly to the chamber or the auction venue's manager. We've already started acquiring various essence blood, and once we have results, we'll report to the master. Tang San smiled, saying, you're too kind, brother Shu. I'll settle the bill and prepare to leave. Shu Zuran's eyes flickered, but he smiled and said, all right, I'll head back. I'm attending the auction tomorrow. Take care, brother. Tang San's earlier words were clearly a polite dismissal, indicating he didn't want Shuzuran to see what he had bought. After Shuzuran left, Tang San began paying for the auction items. It was truly a large sum. Both the foxtail relic and the stone of slowness were quite expensive. The quantities have been verified, no issues. However, you'll need to wait a bit. One of your items requires direct communication with the other party. You should know, right? The staff collected the payment and handed over the items to Tang San. When paying, Tang San noticed that the storage ring Shuzuran gave him was far superior to his storage bracelet, with 100 square meters of storage space. Shuzuran hadn't mentioned its value, clearly gifting it to him. Such a high-level spatial storage device would cost hundreds of element coins. This was obviously a means of winning him over. Having confirmed that the Array Master could bring immense benefits to the Heavenly Spirit Chamber, Shuzuran was already investing in Tang San, the Master's designated spokesperson. The other items were already in the storage ring, including the spacetime beacon. Storing that thing was quite laborious, taking over 10 minutes to slowly draw it into the ring. Retrieving it later would also take considerable time. Moreover, with it in the storage ring, anything Tang San tried to retrieve would be slowed by its influence. But he had secured it. If asked which auction item excited Tang San the most, the spacetime beacon was undoubtedly number one. This was a cosmic-level treasure, unrecognized by the powerhouses of this plane. With it, if used well, Tang San's self-preservation ability would greatly increase. As for the party he needed to meet for a transaction, it wasn't the Ice Maiden clan leader but the consignor of the god-slaying sword. He didn't wait long. The Golden Lion Demon King, who had served as an auctioneer, strode in. Where's the bidder? Where's number 336? Its low voice filled the air with a vibrating sensation upon entering. The staff immediately pointed to Tang San, saying, this is him. You're number 336. The Golden Lion Demon King's gaze shifted slightly. Indeed, Tang San nodded calmly. The Golden Lion Demon King's golden mane moved without wind, its aura surging instantly. The scorching bloodline aura seemed to boil, exuding a terrifying pressure as if ready to devour. At that moment, platinum light erupted from Tang San, enveloping his entire body in blazing flames, tinged with a hint of sanctity, resisting the Golden Lion Demon King's powerful pressure. The Golden Lion Demon King was stunned. The platinum flames on Tang San carried a bloodline aura that felt both familiar and unfamiliar. I'm bidding on behalf of my companion. It's your true descendant. I'm human, but we share a variant bloodline from the same source, derived from the power of the Golden Sacred Flame, a first-tier bloodline. Is that qualification enough to bid for the god-slaying sword? As he spoke, Tang San took out his tiger skin again, and not only that, he produced another tiger skin. Crystal token, sword saint token, dual recognition. The Golden Lion Demon King, seeing these, saw its oppressive aura and the fury in its eyes vanish instantly, looking at Tang San in astonishment. Tang San also restrained his golden lighter flame. I don't know who you plan to challenge in the future, but a variant first-tier bloodline should offer sufficient opportunity, right? I believe this is what you need. I can leave the sword saint token with you. In 7 to 15 days, we will definitely visit. The Golden Lion Demon King stared intensely at Tang San, savoring the aura of the golden lighter flame he had emitted, which indeed carried the flavor of the Golden Lion clan's golden sacred flame, though slightly different. Chapter 427, Two Agreements. The Golden Sacred Flame ability of the Golden Sacred Tiger lineage was explosive, while the Golden Sacred Flame of the Golden Lion clan was assimilative. Though the two differed, they shared some commonalities. The Platinum Flames earlier carried an assimilative aura that couldn't be mistaken. This meant the other party was telling the truth. Moreover, from the Platinum Flame's aura, it indeed caused a tremor in its own bloodline. The opponent was at most 9th tier, not yet at Demon King level, yet their bloodline was not inferior to its own, suggesting their words were likely true. Where does the variant come from? The Golden Lion Demon King asked via transmission. Tang San hesitated slightly before replying via transmission, Liger Beast. The Golden Lion Demon King's expression changed instantly. Them, could they have resolved? Tang San said calmly, please keep it confidential. If this secret is only desired by the Golden Lion clan. The Golden Lion Demon King's gaze became extremely complex. Good, I'll take the Sword Saint token. We await your arrival. As it spoke, it took the Sword Saint token from Tang San's hand. Its mind was somewhat chaotic. The Liger Beast lineage had resolved their bloodline barrier and successfully produced a more powerful variant bloodline. It couldn't be clearer about the relationship between liger beasts, lions, and tigers. This long-exiled lineage was considered an ill-omened hybrid, thought to be on the brink of extinction. Yet, it brought such a shocking revelation. It also understood Tang San's earlier words, only the Golden Lion clan should know, meaning not the Golden Sacred Tiger lineage. The Lion clan had no emperor as backing, so a first-tier bloodline was even more significant to them. However, the relationship between the liger beast lineage and them was also quite strained. Tang San naturally didn't care what it thought. For him, time was tight, and tasks were urgent. Retracting the crystal token, he turned to leave. The Golden Lion Demon King raised its hand, wanting to call him back for more questions but ultimately held back. This was monumental news for the Lion clan, requiring urgent discussion with clan elders. It hadn't expected that auctioning the god-slaying sword would attract a variant evolved liger beast. Tang San quickly exited the waiting zone, heading out. After passing several guards, he finally left the Grand Arena's premises. Free from the aura of misfortune and slaughter, the air seemed to sweeten, and also became colder. A figure like an ice sculpture appeared silently before Tang San, and the air temperature naturally dropped. Hello, clan leader. Tang San showed no surprise. In fact, he had asked the Ice Maiden clan leader to wait for him outside. The Ice Maiden clan leader nodded, her gaze fixed intently on him. Tang San said, please give me a storage artifact. The Ice Maiden clan leader complied, removing an ice blue bracelet from her wrist and handing it to Tang San. The bracelet was cold to the touch. Tang San sighed inwardly, truly worthy of the Ice Maiden clan. Without hesitation, he transferred the element coins from his storage ring into the bracelet. Affected by the spacetime beacon, the process was slow. The Ice Maiden clan leader watched him with some surprise. As a god-level being, enhanced by the Frozen Throne to Great Demon King level, she could clearly sense what Tang San was doing. The Ice Maiden clan leader didn't even know who this young man was, yet he was genuinely giving her money. Earlier, she had trusted Tang San partly because he displayed the Crystal Great Demon Emperor's token, but more importantly, due to her own inner conflict and reluctance. Auctioning the Frozen Throne was against her wishes, a final decision by the clan elders. Seizing this opportunity, she had taken it back. If auctioned, the Frozen Throne's value would exceed 50,000 element coins. It was a true divine artifact, but only ice-attributed powerhouses could fully unleash its power. Tang San looked at her calmly, saying, greetings, clan leader. My name is Shura. You should sense that I'm human, but I'm no longer a vassal, I'm now considered a noble. Seeing your reluctance to auction the Frozen Throne, I could clearly feel its importance to you in the Ice Maiden clan. As the saying goes, a gentleman does not take what others cherish. I believe the Frozen Throne should not fall into others' hands, only in the Ice Maiden clan's hands is it truly the Frozen Throne. So, I hope to help you, or rather, help the Ice Maiden clan overcome its crisis. I've heard some things about the Ice Maiden clan, and a key issue is likely the problem with inheritance, making reproduction difficult. I'll give you 5,000 element coins first to address immediate needs. Then, I have an idea that might solve the Ice Maiden clan's reproduction difficulties. The Ice Maiden clan leader stared at him intently, saying, "Why do you want to help us?" She naturally didn't believe a human would help so selflessly without expecting anything in return. Tang San said, "I don't want to see the Ice Maiden clan's decline. Also, as you know, human survival is difficult, and I hope to gain the Ice Maiden clan's friendship. Moreover, helping your clan with inheritance would also benefit us humans." He hadn't chosen to bid for the Frozen Throne for several reasons. First, he didn't have enough money, the primary reason. Second, as a human acquiring a former emperor's throne, he'd likely face trouble later, even with the Crystal Great Demon Emperor's token. Third, it was about how to help the Ice Maiden clan with their inheritance. This isn't a place to talk. Let's find somewhere to discuss. The Ice Maiden clan leader took the storage bracelet Tang San handed her, sensing it indeed contained 5,000 element coins, and her expression softened slightly. Tang San said, "Clan leader, I have urgent matters and must leave immediately. If possible, could you wait a few days for me to return to the ancestral court to discuss in detail?" The Ice Maiden clan leader was stunned but nodded, saying, "Of course. But aren't you afraid I'll take the money and disappear? You have no proof I received it." Tang San smiled and shook his head, saying, "You are a master of ice elements. As the saying goes, if your heart is as clear as ice, even if the sky falls, you won't be startled. If you didn't have a pure and noble heart, you wouldn't be fit to lead the Ice Maiden clan. With the Ice Maiden clan's foundation, if they resorted to unscrupulous means, they wouldn't be so desperate as to auction the Frozen Throne. No offense intended, I'm just saying I trust you. Since we aim to cooperate, trust is the foundation. If convenient, could you give me an address? I don't have an address. I plan to return to the clan after the auction," the Ice Maiden clan leader said, her brows slightly furrowed. Tang San said, "Then how about this? I have a room at the White Tiger Grand Hotel, already paid for. You can wait for me there. In 2 to 5 days, I should return to discuss with you. How does that sound?" "All right," the Ice Maiden clan leader nodded slightly. Tang San handed her the room keycard, bid farewell again, and quickly left, unable to wait any longer. Was negotiating cooperation with the Ice Maiden clan leader important? Of course. Was acquiring the god-slaying sword important? Naturally, very important. But compared to meeting his Mei Gongzi, none of these mattered. In Tang San's heart, Mei Gongzi was always the top priority. Chapter 428, Returning to Jiali City. After bidding farewell to the Ice Maiden clan leader, Tang San hurriedly set off. Flying was prohibited in the ancestral court, and running at full speed would draw attention, so Tang San simply rented a carriage, instructing it to take him out of the ancestral court as quickly as possible. Sitting in the carriage, he steadied his mind. At this moment, his heart was somewhat feverish, not because of the gains from this auction, but because he was getting closer and closer to his Mei Gongzi. Taking a deep breath, he forcibly stabilized his emotions, as he feared that his longing for Mei Gongzi might cloud his judgment. Silently reflecting on the auction process in his mind, there was no doubt that his number 336, he had been too conspicuous. But fortunately, he left quietly after the second day's rare items auction. For an event like the Ancestral Court Grand Auction, the third day's divine items auction was the highlight, with even emperors attending. Today's auction, if not for the Heavenly Fox Great Demon Emperor's prior promise that emperors wouldn't participate, Tang San was almost certain the outcomes for the Foxtail Relic and Frozen Throne would have been different. The Foxtail Relic was extremely important to the Fox clan. Though it came from the Red Fox clan, if the Heavenly Fox Great Demon Emperor were present, he would never let it fall into non-Fox hands. This was one reason Tang San was eager to leave. As for the Frozen Throne, since the Ice Maiden clan had brought it out, an emperor's presence would make it equally difficult to retract. Such a treasure from a former Heavenly Spirit Emperor would undoubtedly attract great interest from other emperors. Though it appeared Tang San hadn't acquired the Frozen Throne, his 5,000 element coins weren't given lightly. For one, if Wu Bingji wanted to break through to godhood, with his current bloodline strength, it was nearly impossible, and the process would involve a life or death tribulation. But if such a breakthrough happened with the Ice Maiden clan, possessing a treasure like the Frozen Throne, Wu Bingji's success rate would be significantly higher. Helping his eldest martial brother pass the tribulation was, in Tang San's view, worth it. Moreover, he could seek to purchase essence blood from the Ice Maiden clan to evolve Wu Bingji's ice spirit transformation. With their cooperation, it was like opening a path to the heavens for Wu Bingji's future advancement. As for acquiring the Frozen Throne, Tang San wasn't too fixated on it, as he had already obtained the Spacetime Beacon. The Spacetime Beacon was his absolute top gain from this auction, far exceeding his expectations for this ancestral court trip. Even now, Tang San's heart raced. The Spacetime Beacon was useless in others' hands, unrecognized and unusable. But in his hands, it was a future divine artifact, even a super divine artifact. A Spacetime Beacon this large could do so much. Taking a deep breath, Tang San quietly activated his Heavenly Spirit Eye, applying good luck to himself. He once again felt his soaring luck. This luck had likely been with him since leaving the Hell Garden. Tang San wasn't entirely sure if it stemmed from his experiences there or if he had always possessed such immense luck, only discovering it after elevating his Heavenly Fox transformation in the Hell Garden. Regardless, this auction showed he was truly blessed with good fortune, which greatly aided him. The journey was uneventful, and the carriage smoothly exited the ancestral court's boundaries. Once outside, Tang San could wait no longer. Paying the fare, he spread his golden-winged great pung wings and took to the sky. With wings flapping, he accelerated fully, heading straight for Jiali City. Protected by the golden lighter flame, his high-speed flight was even faster than Chang Zicheng's. The fierce winds faced during rapid flight were neutralized by his golden lighter flame, even absorbed as his own power to enhance himself. He didn't even have the mind to carefully examine the treasures he had acquired. Right now, his heart had already flown ahead. Jiali City, Jiali Academy. Standing quietly in an inconspicuous corner outside the academy, Mei Gongzi's expression was somewhat forlorn. There was no news of Tang San from the Redemption Academy. The teachers there didn't know where he had gone, unable to provide any clarity about his situation. And the promised meeting outside Jiali Academy had reached its final day, yet Shira hadn't appeared either. Had they really forgotten her because she had been away too long? Mei Gongzi pursed her red lips, her beautiful eyes tinged with grievance. She had come looking for them immediately upon returning, yet neither was here. Really, the arrival of the Crystal Phoenix Great Demon Emperor had invisibly pressured her. That man seemed to have some special connection with her mother. She hadn't dared ask, as after he left, she found her mother crying deeply and for a long time. It took half the night to console her, and even then, her mother seemed dazed. Mei Gongzi knew the Peacock Great Demon King had been injured by the Crystal Phoenix Great Demon Emperor, and now this man was coming again. When he returned, who in Jiali City could stop an emperor-level powerhouse? She had quietly informed the Peacock Great Demon King about this. Surprisingly, he didn't seem shocked, only saying, if he comes, let him come, and nothing more. If the Crystal Phoenix Great Demon Emperor came again, could the Peacock Demon clan hold on to their ancestral legacy? If not, what was the point of her role as successor? The organization's assigned tasks would naturally be impossible to complete. More importantly, the Peacock Great Demon King might, though she didn't have deep feelings for this father, and there was a racial divide, deep down, she still didn't want him to die. After all, blood is thicker than water. Thus, at this moment, her heart was filled with pressure. She desperately wished for someone to listen to her, to share her thoughts, to offer advice, to help her. The only ones she could think of as trustworthy were those two. Yet one was missing, and the other hadn't kept their promise. Well, the agreed time wasn't quite up yet. Perhaps he would come. Thinking this, Mei Gongzi looked around, quietly releasing her mental energy to search for that figure who might appear at any moment. But to her grievance, there was still no trace of him. As time ticked by, Mei Gongzi ate a meal midway but spent nearly all her time waiting here. She had an inexplicable trust in Shira. Though she didn't know why he appeared or why he always helped her selflessly when she needed it most, he had saved her life during her most dangerous moments. She always felt he was trustworthy. Waiting, in many cases, is painful. The constant anticipation without results wasn't pleasant. 3 days, she had waited 3 days. Fearing she'd miss him, she stayed here, yet he still hadn't appeared. Moving her slightly stiff body, under the sunset's glow, Mei Gongzi began to walk, gently dancing in place. Humming a song only she could hear, with a special rhythm, she danced gracefully. Chapter 429, Shira and Mei Gongzi. A faint silver light flickered in and out with the movements of her graceful figure, and subtle spatial fluctuations quietly emerged alongside. The heavenly mechanism dance was the most important inheritance of the Peacock Demon clan, its true core. The former Peacock Great Demon Emperor had relied on the heavenly mechanism dance to ultimately become an emperor. However, the inheritance of the heavenly mechanism dance was extremely difficult, and for many generations, no one in the Peacock Demon clan had been able to comprehend it. This was the real reason they couldn't produce a great demon emperor. The heavenly mechanism dance was more suitable for female peacock demons. Males could learn it, but the effect was poor. However, among the Peacock Demon clan, the innate bloodline of males was far stronger than that of females. The former Peacock Great Demon Emperor was a female with a variant bloodline, which had led the Peacock clan to achieve first-tier bloodline status. But in the subsequent inheritance process, it was always the male Peacock demons who were stronger, while female Peacock demons also failed to comprehend the heavenly mechanism dance, leading to the current situation. Until this generation, Mei Gongzi displayed exceptional talent, developing the Peacock Golden Crown at a young age and finally beginning to grasp the basics of the Peacock Demon clan's core inheritance, the heavenly mechanism dance. She knew this was likely why, despite her human bloodline, the Peacock Great Demon King wanted to pass the clan leader position to her. Once I finish this dance, I won't wait for that guy anymore. Really, he doesn't keep his word. As Mei Gongzi danced gracefully, the blood and energy in her body became increasingly harmonious, her entire being radiating a crystalline silver light. Her mental perception expanded outward, sensing every subtle change in the surrounding space. She could even feel some restlessness from Jiali City, a response to her Peacock Demon clan bloodline. At this moment, she seemed to sense something, a sharp aura approaching at an astonishing speed. Mei Gongzi's eyes instantly turned sharp, her body twisting as a peacock feather appeared in her hand. The space around her fluctuated rapidly, ready to act at any moment. But at that moment, the sharp aura silently receded, and a figure descended from the sky. The golden light behind him quickly faded, landing right in front of her. Mei Gongzi was slightly stunned. That familiar aura, sorry for making you wait so long. A familiar voice, a familiar aura, and that familiar mask, that familiar figure. Shira landed lightly, his breathing noticeably rapid, his chest heaving intensely, indicating he had been rushing at full speed. But at this moment, his eyes couldn't hide their fervor, almost as if he wanted to rush toward her. Looking at that familiar figure and hearing his voice, for some reason, the resentment accumulated over 3 days of waiting turned into a sense of reassurance. You came from far away. Mei Gongzi looked at Shira, who seemed to have grown taller, and said softly. At this moment, Shira's gaze seemed to devour her. She had grown taller, her figure even more proportionate. The youthful aura of a young girl had become more pronounced, with less childishness and more of the gentle beauty unique to a maiden, though she seemed slightly thinner, her eyes even brighter. Her dance earlier was so beautiful. In fact, before he arrived, his divine consciousness had already swept over. Yes, divine consciousness, because it wouldn't be easily detected and could probe farther. To confirm she was still there, he hadn't cared about his own exhaustion. Then, in his divine consciousness, he sensed that captivating realization, that dance that seemed to move the entire space. This perception of realization intoxicated him, so much so that he didn't even conceal the sharp aura from his golden tongue transformation. Finally standing before her, seeing her stunningly beautiful face and increasingly refined temperament, the day and night rush was worth it. Yes, a bit of a distance, but it's fine. I was delayed by some matters, making you wait long, Shira said softly, restraining the urge to embrace her. You worked hard. Seeing his travel-worn appearance, Mei Gongzi's resentment completely vanished. No matter what, she had been waiting here, but he had rushed back from far away. His effort was far greater than hers. She asked curiously, how did you know I was waiting for you here? Shira smiled slightly, saying, I set up an array here. If someone lingers here for a long time, I can sense it remotely. Only you would wait here for so long, especially on the second day in a row. I knew you had come out of seclusion. You've changed a lot. Your strength has grown too, hasn't it? Is your seclusion fully over? With just a sweep of his divine consciousness, he could clearly feel that Mei Gongzi's aura had become more refined, her cultivation well settled. Though still at the 8th tier, she was at the peak of the 8th tier, clearly suppressing her bloodline power deliberately, otherwise, she could have broken through to the 9th tier. How old was Mei Gongzi? Around 16, yet she was about to reach the 9th tier. Among humans, this was extremely rare. Of course, Tang San himself was an exception. He couldn't be judged by the standards of a typical teenager. Yes, it's all right. My seclusion isn't over yet. I was let out midway to rest for a while. In a few days, I'll have to undergo a test, she replied. A test? What kind of test? Shira asked, immediately tense. Mei Gongzi said, it should be a family test. After passing it, my seclusion should be nearing its end. Shira realized, you've been suppressing your power to break through during the test, right? Probably, but it's not my doing, Mei Gongzi nodded. If not her, it was naturally the Peacock Great Demon King. It seemed this test was very important. A flash of light appeared in Shira's hand, revealing 2 items. He handed them to Mei Gongzi, saying, these 2 items are recent acquisitions. Take them, they should help you during your family test. Mei Gongzi looked curiously at the 2 items in his hand, a milky white stone and a small mirror. What are these? Shira said, this stone is called the Stone of Destiny. Carrying it will bring you good luck. It comes from the Heavenly Fox Sacred Mountain in the Ancestral Court. Something from the Heavenly Fox Great Demon Emperor. Mei Ganzi asked in surprise. Shira nodded. The other one, treat it as a weapon. I've recorded a bloodline ability in it. When you're in danger, activate it, and the ability inside will manifest, displaying power close to your level but of that bloodline. You're skilled at spatial control, so I recorded the Time Crocodile's bloodline power, time control. When activated, you can control time acceleration or deceleration for 1 minute. Time and space combined will greatly help you. Mei Ganzi looked at the 2 items in his hand, then at him, instinctively stepping back and shaking her head, saying, thank you, but I can't take them. They're too precious. I can't take your things. Shira said, why distinguish between you and me? What's mine is yours. Take them for now, consider it a loan. You can return them after you come out of seclusion. Mei Ganzi still shook her head, saying, how can we not distinguish? I've never even seen your real face. We've only met a few times. I don't even know who you really are, where you're from, or why you helped me like this. How could I keep accepting your sacrifices? I can't repay you. Chapter 430, Blood Oath Guardian. Shira thought to himself, remarrying me would be the best repayment. Of course, he only thought it, saying it would probably scare Mei Ganzi away. Seeing Shira fall silent, Mei Ganzi continued, if possible, can you take off your mask and let me see? At least let me know who's helping me. I really can't take your things anymore. I came to see you today, waiting here these past 2 days, hoping to understand you better and know who you really are. Shira gave a wry smile, saying, why dwell on these things? You just need to know everything I do is for your good, and I fully support whatever you want to do. Isn't that enough? Mei Ganzi shook her head, saying, no, it's not enough. If friends can't be honest with each other, how can they be friends? At this moment, Shira truly felt the urge to lift his mask and reveal his true face. But he held back. The identity of Shira would make it much easier to stay by Mei Ganzi's side in the future, whether protecting her or doing other things. Switching to Tang San's identity, for one, would be too shocking, and secondly, he worried Mei Ganzi might overthink. After all, the real Tang San was barely 14 now. 14 years old, with such cultivation and knowledge, how could he explain that? In the future, to protect her, he'd inevitably need to use divine consciousness. It wouldn't always be like the sea god's arrival, where she didn't see him. If she saw it, how could he explain? They were still young, and Tang San was waiting for her to grow up. He wanted to protect her well, pursue her wholeheartedly when she was ready. The identity of Shira was far more suitable for protecting her openly than Tang San. But Mei Ganzi's thoughts were different. These past few days, waiting for Shira, she had carefully considered their relationship. Initially, his sudden appearance had filled her with caution toward this mysterious figure. But as he appeared repeatedly, helping and protecting her, the defenses in her heart gradually relaxed. Recalling these past 2 days, she was surprised to realize she had unconsciously come to see him as an important friend. Yet, she had never seen his true appearance. So, she resolved that if he came this time, she must see his face and ask clearly who he was. Everyone has their secrets, and I'm no exception. The reason I don't let you see my face is naturally because I have my difficulties. Shira sighed softly, saying wistfully, if you can't accept me like this, I have no choice. Just treat me as a guardian sent by the heavens. No matter how you see me, when you need me, I'll always be by your side. These 2 items were obtained at the risk of my life, and I only hope they can help you. After all, you're still young, and the path ahead is long, very long. This test must be crucial for you. Have you thought about what you'll face if you don't pass? Even if you want to question me or have other thoughts, pass this test first. As he spoke, Shira lightly flicked his wrist, and the crystal mirror and stone of destiny flew toward Mei Ganzi. Sensing a change in his tone, Mei Ganzi instinctively caught them. His eyes seemed to carry a touch of melancholy and sadness. At this moment, in the depths of his gaze, it was as if countless stories and pasts were hidden. In that instant, Mei Ganzi felt as if she saw an old man, a guardian sent by the heavens. Then she saw Shira raise his hands, his left hand cutting across his right index finger. The next moment, a drop of blood, filled with a scorching aura and shimmering with a strange brilliance, was squeezed from his fingertip. It was clearly a drop of essence blood. For any powerhouse, essence blood was the most vital part of their body. A person could only condense a few dozen drops in their lifetime, each one extremely precious. That drop of essence blood pulsed at Shira's fingertip, radiating a strange brilliance, giving Mei Ganzi's soul a trembling sensation, as if it contained many familiar things. Today, I swear with my blood, for my entire life, in prosperity or adversity, in strength or weakness, in youth or old age, no matter the path ahead, I will always guard Mei Ganzi's side. I will never do anything to harm her, always stay by her side, and never betray her. If I break this oath, may the heavens abandon me and strike me with 5 thunders. As he spoke, his hands traced a strange arc in the air, and the drop of essence blood naturally spread out, forming a peculiar pattern. A blood-red light shot into the sky from Shira's body, flashing briefly, but in that instant, his entire aura fluctuated dramatically. Blood pact, Mei Ganzi exclaimed, momentarily at a loss. She never expected that, when she wanted to see his true face, Shira would prove his devotion with such a method. You didn't need to do this. I'm sorry. Mei Ganzi's heart instantly filled with regret. Essence blood is so precious, it'll take you a long time to recover from this loss. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been so willful, you. Shira shook his head with a smile, as if nothing had happened. It's fine. This way, you can feel at ease. I'm not taking off my mask now because I truly have my reasons. When the day comes that I feel I can remove it, I'll do so immediately. Trust me, it's just a matter of time. I'll always protect you well. What was swearing a blood oath for his wife? Even giving his life for her, he wouldn't hesitate. Just as in their past life, she had sacrificed for him. The blood oath was the most serious vow on the fairy continent. No race dared to make it lightly, as all power in this plane stemmed from bloodlines. If one suffered a backlash from their own bloodline, death was certain. After the blood oath was made, Mei Ganzi vaguely felt a deeper connection with the Shira before her, and this oath dispelled all her doubts about his intentions. Shira had resolved all her inner concerns in this way. Keep them, consider them alone. Return them after you pass your family test, Shira said with a smile. Seeing her flustered appearance, he felt a pang of heartache, but this was the only way to dispel her doubts. As for the loss of this drop of essence blood, he had ways to recover quickly. Mei Ganzi lowered her head, saying, thank you. Shira shook his head, saying, no need to thank me, have you eaten? How about we grab a meal together? He just wanted to spend more time with her. Mei Ganzi shook her head, saying, no, my mom's waiting for me at home to eat. I promised her I'd be back for dinner. Shira felt a wave of disappointment but nodded, saying, all right, then head back early. It's getting dark. Yes, thank you for rushing back from so far just to see me. Should I wait for you here again? Mei Ganzi asked. Shira nodded, saying, anytime. No matter where I am, I'll try to return within 3 days. Mei Ganzi looked up at him, her eyes slightly complex. She wasn't quite sure how to face this situation. Oh, right, there's something I'd like to trouble you with, Mei Ganzi said, as if suddenly remembering something. Chapter 431, Shira's jealousy of Tang San. Oh, right, there's something I'd like to trouble you with, Mei Ganzi said, as if suddenly remembering something. Go ahead, Mei Ganzi said, I have a friend who used to work as a handyman at Jiali Academy. You know Mayor Zhang, right? He's one of Mayor Zhang's people, named Tang San. If it's convenient, could you help me find him later? This time out, I couldn't find him. If you see him, tell him to wait for me at the academy. In at most 3 months, I should officially come out of seclusion. Asking me to find myself. Shira couldn't help but find it amusing. Still, he nodded with a smile, saying, what's he to you? Just a friend. Mei Ganzi was stunned for a moment, then nodded, saying, yes, a friend. And me, can I be considered your friend now? Shira pressed. Yes, Mei Ganzi nodded, then looked up at the sky, it's really getting late. I'll go now, thank you. Watching her graceful figure gradually disappear from view, Shira couldn't help but chuckle. In that moment, he suddenly felt that as Shira, he was somewhat jealous of Tang San. Tang San hadn't done much for her, while Shira had given so much more. Yet, it seemed there was less of a barrier between her and Tang San than with Shira. When she learned that Tang San was Shira, and Shira was Tang San, he wondered if she'd be the one embarrassed or if he would. Little Mei, grow up quickly. When you're 18, I'll truly start pursuing you. Seeing her today, seeing her even more beautiful, seeing her growing more and more like her past life self, Tang San's heart was filled with gratitude that he could find this plane and find her. Though they'd face many trials to be together again and return to their peak, he was confident he could take her back to their family. She would always be his wife. Mei Ganzi left, and Tang San had to leave too. He had many things to do. If not for Mei Ganzi, he wouldn't have returned today, as there was still much to wrap up in the ancestral court. However, coming back this time allowed him to handle some things in passing. Without entering Jiali City, Tang San took off along a path beside Jiali Academy, heading straight for the Jiali Mountains. There was no need to return to the Redemption Academy for now. After entering the Jiali Mountains, he spread his golden wings and flew swiftly toward a familiar place. Though teleportation might be faster, he wanted to use this return to observe any changes near the academy. Looking down from the air, everything seemed normal. With his high-speed flight, he soon arrived at his true base. Illusory mist still shrouded the area. By now, the sky was completely dark. Protected by the linked array, the Golden Valley remained quietly hidden in the shadows. Tang San skillfully slipped through the illusion array. When the scenery became clear again, a rich life aura washed over him, and his body eagerly absorbed this vitality, replenishing the exhaustion from a day and night of travel and the loss of a drop of essence blood. The Golden Valley at night was very quiet. Only the increasingly robust golden tree by the lake emitted a faint golden glow, bringing light and vibrant life to this serene paradise. Returning here, Tang San felt his heart calm. He hadn't set up a teleportation array between the ancestral court and the Golden Valley, partly because his current materials and cultivation didn't allow it, and partly because he didn't want to disturb this place's tranquility. He wanted to keep this rear base secure. Walking slowly toward the lake, absorbing the rich life aura in the air, Tang San felt his body warm considerably. The golden tree grew daily, nourished by the spirit gathering array's spiritual energy. Its growth was rapid, and as it grew larger, the life force it emitted became increasingly potent. Who's there? A low voice sounded. The next moment, several figures rushed forward with fierce momentum, instantly blocking Tang San's path. Tang San lifted his hood, revealing his masked face. It's me. Lord, you're back, a voice filled with surprise rang out. Among the figures that rushed over, a woman quickly ran forward, her face full of joy. It was Hong Yi. Tang San smiled and nodded, saying, just got back. Following Hong Yi were several exceptionally burly Liger clan youths. They were robust, with tiger-like features, their bodies radiating a youthful, fiery bloodline aura full of strength. Since Tang San resolved their bloodline issues and reached an agreement, the Liger clan had settled in the Golden Valley. With ample space and rich life aura, it was the best place for their clansmen, whose vitality had been affected by bloodline conflicts, to recover. Benefactor, the Liger clan youths bowed to Tang San, their eyes clearly showing gratitude and warmth. Tang San could be said to have saved their entire race, their great benefactor. No need to be polite. Where's Big Cat? Tang San asked. One of the Liger clan youths smiled, saying, probably with sister-in-law. Shall we call him? Tang San quickly stopped them, saying, no need, it's too late. I'll find him tomorrow. You all rest too. Yes, we're on night watch duty. You rest, Lord, the Liger clan youth said with a grin. Having finally found such a great habitat, though protected by the illusion array and quite safe, the Liger clan's grand elder still arranged for the clan's youths to keep watch nightly. Tang San nodded with a smile, leading Hong Yi to the golden tree. Hong Yi, you rest too. I'll have something for you tomorrow. Yes, master, Hong Yi bowed with a sweet smile, then walked across the water, returning to the cave to rest. Nourished by the Golden Valley's life aura, Hong Yi's cultivation was the highest among the Red Fox girls, reaching the 6th tier. However, at this level, her weaker bloodline showed signs of faltering, making further progress difficult on her own. The other Red Fox girls were even less advanced. Tang San came to the golden tree, stepping directly into the spirit gathering array. Here, not only was the life aura rich, but the spiritual energy of heaven and earth was also highly concentrated. Looking up at the increasingly tall golden tree, Tang San couldn't help but feel a warmth in his heart. This was something he had planted, gradually growing into its current form. Sitting cross-legged under the golden tree, Tang San didn't rush to meditate and cultivate. Instead, he took an item from his storage ring. It was a crystal bottle. When the bottle appeared, a yellow glow inside, previously calm, began to surge wildly, as if trying to break out of the sealed crystal bottle. Yes, this was the spirit essence Tang San had acquired at the ancestral court grand auction, from the Empire of the Sun. According to the auctioneer, absorbing the spirit essence could directly enhance divine consciousness. But would Tang San directly absorb this spirit essence? Of course not. Chapter 432, Golden Tree Spirit Essence. Absorbing the spirit essence directly would not only risk backlash but would also be an extreme waste. As a condensation of divine consciousness, the spirit essence itself was sentient. The reason those in the ancestral court thought it could only be used for consumption was that the sentient spirit essence would seek to possess a body, hoping for a chance at rebirth. Seizing a body with a spirit essence was extremely difficult, as it would inevitably face a different race. But when Tang San first saw this spirit essence, observing it with his mental power, he immediately identified its origin, which was why he was so determined to bid for it, believing his luck was truly extraordinary. Checking the seal on the crystal bottle's mouth, it was a small sealing array. The spirit essence's divine consciousness was trapped inside, unable to exert any influence, as its greatest trait was its lack of sufficient mental power to mobilize, having the level but not the strength. Tang San skillfully released a wisp of mental power, bypassing the seal's barrier and quietly entering the bottle. Calm down first, then we'll talk. Tang San transmitted his intent to the spirit essence inside the bottle through his mental power. As if not expecting communication, the spirit essence's wild surging paused. Immediately after, an angry voice resounded in Tang San's mental consciousness. Let me out, let me out. It was a fierce roar, filled with rage and unwillingness. I'll let you out, but we need to talk first, Tang San said calmly. Talk about what? Let me out. The spirit essence's emotions remained unstable. Tang San said in a deep voice, in this state, we can't communicate, and you'll lose the chance for freedom or even rebirth. Calm down first. The spirit essence didn't respond this time, but its form visibly stabilized. On its surface, a halo resembling an eye gradually formed, looking at Tang San outside the bottle. Tang San let it observe him, quietly waiting. After a full half hour, the spirit essence's voice emerged again, hoarse but noticeably less agitated. Who are you? Tang San said, my name is Tang San. I'm the one who bought you at the grand auction. In a sense, I think we should be friends. Friends, you're human. The spirit essence's voice carried doubt. Yes, I'm human, but rest assured, I won't consume you, Tang San said calmly. Not consume me, you despicable creatures. Do you know how many years it took me to develop sentience, how many years to break free from the earth's constraints, even nearing the breakthrough of a heavenly tribulation? At such a time, you cut my roots, and in the tribulation, I was reduced to ashes, my divine consciousness captured and turned into this. You bastards, the spirit essence's emotions began to destabilize again. Tang San sighed softly, saying, calm your emotions first. For one, what happened to you wasn't my doing. If I'm not mistaken, it was likely the demon clans that turned you into a spirit essence, probably a great demon king level being who could see such an opportunity during a tribulation. I'm human, and for us, the demon clans are enemies. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Since you could face a tribulation, your wisdom is high enough to understand me. The spirit essence fell silent again, its emotions gradually calming. What do you want, human? Tang San said faintly, I want to help you. If I'm not mistaken, your original form was a golden tree, correct? Yes, this spirit essence was formed from a golden tree's cultivation, or rather, a golden tree on the verge of reaching godhood, struck by great calamity and failing its tribulation, its divine consciousness seized. This was why Tang San had been so resolute in bidding for it. Correct, I was a golden tree. So what? The spirit essence replied. Tang San said, nothing much. I can't restore your former glory. But you've developed divine consciousness. If you start anew, I believe you could reach godhood faster. Look behind you. As he spoke, Tang San pointed to the golden tree in front of him. The spirit essence turned, and through the crystal bottle, it immediately saw the golden tree emitting a faint golden glow. Instantly, the spirit essence became agitated, the yellow glow surging wildly again, as if trying to break out of the crystal bottle. This time, Tang San didn't stop it, only quietly waiting. After a full quarter hour, the spirit essence stabilized again. Let me out, quickly let me out. This is just a juvenile golden tree, not yet sentient. Let me merge with it, and I can rise again. 100 years, yes, at most 100 years, with my divine consciousness, I can return to my peak and become a god-level powerhouse. Tang San shook his head, saying, it won't take that long. With my help, you can achieve that goal in even less time. What do you want me to do? The spirit essence's intelligence finally kicked in. Seeing the golden tree, all its anger turned to joy, as this was its best chance for rebirth. Tang San said, I don't need you to do anything, just guard this area. In the future, I'll give you more. All I want is your feedback to this area. That's your instinct, so you don't need to give anything extra. The golden tree's absorption of heaven and earth's spiritual energy to transform into life aura was indeed its instinct. For it, life aura wasn't very useful. Golden trees were common in the empire of the sun, and life aura was important for vegetation. But few developed sentience, and their highest advancement was the 10th tier, making them an ordinary race there. But this was the understanding of this world. In Tang San's understanding, the golden tree was a different kind of being. The reason golden trees in this plane could only reach godhood and not progress further wasn't due to the plane but because they hadn't found the path to further evolution. If left to natural development, it might take tens of thousands of years for their true evolution to emerge. But for this species, Tang San was all too familiar, deeply understanding its benefits and potential. Then let me out, the spirit essence said again. All right, Tang San smiled, without any hesitation, directly opening the crystal bottle, releasing the golden tree spirit essence from its seal. As the crystal bottle opened, the yellow glow shot into the sky, attempting to escape. Facing its escape, Tang San took no action, didn't pursue, and remained seated with a smile, unmoving. The yellow glow soared 100 meters into the air but paused, hovering briefly before slowly descending back to Tang San. You're not afraid I'd run. Its voice transmitted into Tang San's mind through divine consciousness. Tang San smiled and shook his head, saying, why should I be afraid? This is a win-win situation. This is the East, under the Celestial Empire's domain. I think the chances of you finding another of your kind are slim. My goal in helping you is simple. The life energy you release as you grow will nourish everything here, and that's enough for me. You should sense the spirit gathering arrays I've set up here. With them, your recovery and growth speed will greatly increase. And this is just the beginning. As I grow stronger, I'll provide more to help you grow faster. The yellow glow said, if I reach godhood in the future, you can't stop me from leaving. Tang San said, of course. I can form a contract with you. When you reach godhood, you can leave freely at any time, and I won't stop you. I can even help you pass your tribulation. Chapter 433, Spirit Essence merges with Golden Evolution. The emotions of the Spirit Essence noticeably calmed, but it firmly said, good, then let's establish a contract. Tang San smiled and nodded, using his mental power to outline a contract that quickly appeared between them. The Spirit Essence said, your mental power is strong, but it's not on the same level as mine. If we establish a contract. It had only just said this when a speck of azure light suddenly appeared on the mental power contract before them. With a flash of light and shadow, the entire contract seemed to come alive, brimming with life aura. Divine consciousness. The Spirit Essence was greatly shocked, closely examining Tang San again. It hadn't sensed even the slightest trace of divine consciousness from him earlier. If I wanted to consume you, I would have done so already, Tang San said, making a gesture of invitation. This time, the Spirit Essence didn't hesitate. A speck of golden light shot out from the center of the yellow glow, imprinting onto the contract. Immediately, the contract shimmered with intertwining golden and blue light, then transformed back into two streams of light, injecting into Tang San's and the golden tree Spirit Essence's divine consciousness, completing the contract. This was an equal contract, with no subordinate relationship. The smile on Tang San's face grew broader as he looked at the golden tree behind the Spirit Essence. Need any help? Of course not, it replied. As a god-level golden tree Spirit Essence merging with a juvenile golden tree that had no trace of sentience, though somewhat beneath its dignity, it was an effortless task, extremely easy to fuse. With a flicker of light and shadow, the Spirit Essence merged. Immediately, the faint golden glow emitted by the golden tree surged brilliantly. Even the spirit gathering arrays beneath the tree instantly brightened. A vast amount of heaven and earth's spiritual energy surged toward it. A golden tree with wisdom and a soul was worlds apart from one without. This would accelerate its growth hundreds of thousands of times. This was exactly what Tang San urgently needed. After visiting the ancestral court, he understood even more how rich the heaven and earth's spiritual energy was in this plane. With the golden tree's previous state, this place could never compare to the ancestral court, and this level of life aura couldn't support his companions in achieving godhood. Thus, when he saw the golden tree spirit essence, he was so thrilled. The true role of this spirit essence was to merge with the golden tree, giving it true life and making it a sentient life form. This way, the golden tree could not only grow rapidly but also purify life force, doing many things beneficial to this area, truly turning it into a treasure land. In the Empire of the Sun, golden trees were merely exploited, and those that developed sentience were extremely rare, so their true potential had never been developed. But here, Tang San would not drain it dry, instead, he would continuously help it evolve. As for the contract's clause about leaving after achieving godhood, Tang San hadn't even considered it. When the time came, he only needed to tell the golden tree he had ways to help it evolve further, and it probably wouldn't leave even if driven away. The golden tree emitted, crackling, sounds throughout its body. With the spirit essence's integration, its life level was rising, requiring it to absorb vast amounts of heaven and earth's spiritual energy to replenish itself. While absorbing heavily, it naturally released an intense life aura. Bathed in such life energy, Tang San's fatigue rapidly faded, and even the loss from the drop of essence blood was quickly being replenished. A faint smile appeared on his face, a trace of mysterious brilliance on his expression. One of the gains from this auction was already showing its effects. The golden tree was growing at a visible rate, its golden glow illuminating the entire Golden Valley brightly. The lighter clan warriors patrolling and standing guard immediately noticed the change here, simultaneously feeling the life aura in the Golden Valley becoming even more potent. As a biological instinct, they instantly felt refreshed, as if the bloodlines in their bodies were coming alive. Resisting the urge to let out a tiger roar or lion bellow, they silently watched the rapidly growing tree from a distance. Tang San sat cross-legged beneath the tree, beginning to meditate and rest. A day and night of full-speed travel, along with the blood oath to ease Mei Gongzi's wariness, had taken a considerable toll on him. Now relaxing, he quickly entered a state of forgetting both self and the world. The life aura emitted by the golden tree bathed him, outlining a layer of golden glow on his skin, indescribably dazzling and vibrant. In the morning, when sunlight pierced the valley's clouds and shone on the golden tree, its warmth also awakened Tang San. Opening his eyes, he instantly felt his fatigue completely gone, an indescribable comfort. At this moment, the golden tree beside him had undergone earth-shattering changes. The massive trunk was more than twice as thick as before, its height exceeding 15 meters. The bark's surface showed numerous cracks, revealing the new trunk beneath. This was still with the golden tree spirit essence controlling itself during the divine consciousness stimulation, fearing excessive stimulation would cause the body to collapse. Otherwise, its growth would have been even more terrifying. As a result, in just one night, the heaven and earth's spiritual energy in a large area around the Golden Valley had been completely drained. The life aura in the entire Golden Valley was now so dense it felt almost viscous. Every creature here was covered in a faint golden glow, a change brought by the golden tree's rapid evolution. Benefactor, you're awake, a familiar voice sounded. Tang San turned his head to see the Liger Clan Grand Elder, the Liger Sword Saint Big Cat, and his wife Little Cat waiting there. The Red Fox girls were all present, waiting on the other side. Tang San smiled slightly and stood up. Greetings, Grand Elder, Brother Big Cat, Sister-in-law. The Liger Sword Saint chuckled, saying, your return brought us such a huge surprise. Last night, the life aura was so dense I couldn't sleep from the excitement and woke up startled. If my bloodline hadn't evolved, I might not have been able to resist breaking through. After evolving its bloodline and mastering the golden lighter flame, its cultivation level had decreased slightly due to bloodline compression, allowing its body to handle greater energy. Thus, it was no longer at the 9th tier peak. Tang San smiled, saying, the help brought by this level of life aura shouldn't be much less than what's in the ancestral court. And as the golden tree grows, the life energy will become even denser. The Grand Elder sighed, saying, this truly is a paradise. When we first came here, we were already full of surprises, but I never expected the surprises to keep growing. Thank you, Benefactor. If not for you, our clan would probably. Tang San waved his hand, saying, Grand Elder, let's not talk about that. I came back this time to discuss something with you. The Grand Elder's heart stirred, saying, should we talk here or go to our place? The Liger clan had built wooden houses in a corner of the Golden Valley. With their small numbers, they deliberately chose a secluded spot, not affecting the valley's scenery at all. Tang San said, let's talk here. As he spoke, he waved his hand, and a mental power barrier enveloped him and the 3 Liger clan members. He wasn't worried about the Red Fox girls overhearing, but what he had to say was better not heard by other nearby Liger clan members. After all, this matter needed the approval of the Grand Elder and the Liger Sword Saint before proceeding further. Does the Elder know of the God-slaying sword? Tang San got straight to the point. The Grand Elder was startled. Of course I know. Isn't that the weapon of the current Lion King? When the God-slaying sword appears, it kills and slays gods. Chapter 434, The Liger Sword Saint's Decision. Tang San said, the current Lion King you mentioned is likely no longer alive. He then recounted what he had seen and heard at the grand auction. Hearing that the Golden Lion clan had put the God-slaying sword up for auction to find a brave warrior to challenge formidable enemies, both the Liger Sword Saint and the Grand Elder showed unusual expressions. They deserve it, they just deserve it, Little Cat couldn't help but say from the side. This tall Liger clan woman clearly harbored deep resentment toward the Golden Lion clan and the Golden Sacred Tiger lineage. The Grand Elder sighed deeply, saying, to fall to such a state, truly to such a state. Did the White Tiger Great Demon Emperor not intervene? Tang San shook his head, saying, that I don't know. But it was the Golden Lion King who died, not the Golden Tiger King. I think that's why the White Tiger Great Demon Emperor didn't intervene. The Grand Elder looked at him, you hope Big Cat will take up the God-slaying sword. Tang San countered, does the Grand Elder want the Liger clan to live peacefully here forever, or to carve out a place in the world, showing those who once thought you brought misfortune who the true evolution is? The Grand Elder fell silent, and the Liger Sword Saint didn't speak either. Little Cat looked at Tang San, then at Big Cat, wanting to speak but ultimately holding back. Deep in her heart, she naturally didn't want her husband to take risks. But this was proposed by their savior, and she couldn't bring herself to object. Besides, she had always known her husband had an unyielding heart. As the Liger clan's strongest, now possessing a first-tier bloodline, would he truly remain hidden in this paradise forever? Tang San said, there's no need for psychological pressure. I only think this is an opportunity, a chance for the Liger clan to return to the historical stage. If you think it's not feasible, I'll just not take the Sword Saint token. It's no loss for the Golden Lion clan either. They don't know who I am, and pursuing it would require them to weigh the Sword Saint Palace. The Grand Elder sighed, Benefactor, our clan has just struggled back from the brink of life and death, all thanks to you. I shouldn't, but with so few clansmen left, and perhaps because I'm old, I really don't want the children to take risks anymore. At least let our clan develop and grow stronger first. Tang San nodded, saying, I respect your opinion. He hadn't been entirely confident in persuading the lighter clan. Since the Grand Elder was unwilling, he naturally wouldn't force anything. No, I'll go. At that moment, the lighter sword saint, who had been silent, suddenly spoke. The Grand Elder and Little Cat simultaneously looked at him, seeing the resolute determination in Big Cat's eyes. Grand Elder, Little Cat, Benefactor is right. We can't miss this opportunity. We can't lose our edge because of the suffering we've endured. The Golden Lion clan has lost its leader and is in a state of disarray. Before, to the Lion and Tiger clans, we were ominous heretics. Now, with Benefactor's help, we've resolved the bloodline isolation and evolved into a higher level bloodline. At the moment the Golden Lion clan needs it most, we can show them hope. As he spoke, he looked around at the Golden Valley. This place is wonderful, and I've thought about living here with Little Cat for a lifetime, which would be a great happiness. But a man should stand tall and strong. Should our lighter clan really just wait for death here? Grand Elder, you know best. With our current numbers, continuing to reproduce, our lineage will likely end in 3 generations at most. The bloodline grows thinner, and producing offspring is so difficult. Is this what we want? To take a step further, to let our clan thrive better, in fact, we need their recognition and support. Only then can our lighter clan truly stand tall in the Celestial Empire. So, I must take the god-slaying sword and become a demon king. In the future, I'll aim for the level of a great demon emperor. If I become a great demon emperor, who would dare call our lighter clan ominous? Looking at the Grand Elder's gradually reddening eyes, the lighter sword saint's voice softened. Grand Elder, I know what you're worried about. I'll go alone. Even if something happens to me, it won't affect our clan's current situation. Let me go, otherwise, I won't be at peace my whole life. But if I succeed, it will be our clan's rebirth, a true rebirth. His eyes revealed determination, resolve, and the same defiance Tang San had once seen in the ancestral court grand arena. The lighter sword saint was never one to submit to others. He wanted to become stronger. He had the golden lighter flame, but what he lacked was the support behind him. The Golden Lion clan was an ancient and powerful race with profound foundations. Returning to the Lion clan, proving the lighter clan's existence wasn't ominous, gaining their recognition and support through strength, becoming an even stronger lighter sword saint, and one day standing at the peak of the demon clans, this was what he wanted. It was precisely because Tang San saw through his character that he chose to bid for the god-slaying sword for him at the grand auction. The Grand Elder looked at him, his expression gradually changing. He firmly patted the lighter sword saint's shoulder. You are already the lighter clan's leader. Your decision is the clan's decision. I'm old, so I'll guard the rear and our clansmen well for you. The lighter sword saint opened his arms, giving the Grand Elder a strong embrace. Elder, trust me, I'll be fine and will become the pride of the lighter clan. You can go. At that moment, another voice came from beside the lighter sword saint. He turned sharply to look at Little Cat. Little Cat gazed at him intently. But you can't abandon me, my illness is cured, and my bloodline is fused. I'm the strongest among the clan's women. If you want to be the lighter clan's hero, I want to be too. So, wherever you go, I go. If you want to fight, I'll fight with you. If you want to soar to the heavens, I'll soar with you. If you want to dive into the sea, I'll dive with you. If you live, I live. If you become the lighter great demon emperor, I'll be your empress. If you die, I die, and even in death, our tales will be entwined. Little Cat's words were equally resolute, without the slightest hesitation. Big Cat's eyes grew moist. He suddenly opened his arms, pulling Little Cat into his embrace. Good, we live and die together. As long as I have a single breath, I'll never let any existence harm you. Watching this scene, Tang San couldn't help but feel a pang of melancholy, even briefly wondering if he was right or wrong to do this. But he quickly dismissed the thought. With the lighter sword saint's character, even without this opportunity, he would likely seek a chance to venture out. His heart was not one of tranquility. Benefactor, when do we leave? The lighter sword saint asked Tang San. Tang San said, I still need to return to the ancestral court to handle some matters. I'll stay here for 2 days. You can prepare first, then head directly to the ancestral court and check into the White Tiger Grand Hotel. My flight speed is faster than yours, so I'll catch up after staying 2 days. We'll meet in the ancestral court and head to the Golden Lion clan together. Good. The lighter clan couldn't fly, they weren't winged tigers. Even with the golden lighter flame for brief flight, the speed was fast but not sustainable. Tang San had them leave first because he had matters to handle here. Even leaving 2 days later, he'd likely reach the ancestral court before the lighter sword saint couple. Chapter 435, The Role of the Foxtail Relic. The lighter sword saint couple left first, but Tang San wasn't in a hurry to leave the Golden Valley. The Golden Tree spirit essence had just merged with the Golden Tree, and he needed to observe the fusion's effects. If necessary, Tang San's presence could prevent issues, but from current observations, the fusion was going very well. After all, they were of the same species, and a higher-level entity merging into a lower-level body was straightforward. The Golden Tree itself had no sentience, and the addition of the Golden Tree spirit essence was equivalent to bringing thousands of years of cultivation experience and wisdom, inevitably accelerating its growth significantly. Tang San quietly sensed the Golden Tree's current state. After the fusion, the Golden Tree spirit essence had likely entered a dormant state to fully integrate its divine consciousness with the Golden Tree. This fusion required a process, as the divine consciousness was too powerful for the original Golden Tree, needing gradual integration while elevating the Golden Tree's level to avoid the risk of bursting it. From what he could see, the spirit essence clearly knew what to do, and no issues had arisen. There was no need to worry about the Golden Tree in the short term. In the near future, with the protection of the arrays, the life aura here would surely become extremely dense. Even in the Empire of the Sun, where powerful golden trees existed, their life aura dispersed widely outward. But the Golden Valley was different. Under the effect of Tang San's linked array, the life aura was contained within the valley, not escaping outward, creating 2 distinct worlds inside and outside the valley. Here, the life aura would become incomparably dense. Taking off, he stepped across the water. Tang San arrived outside the cave on the opposite shore of the lake. Is it convenient for me to come in? He called toward the cave. After all, it was full of girls, and he needed to be cautious. Master's here. Master, please come in. Cheerful voices soon came from inside, followed by the girls running out. Some of the Red Fox girls' clothes were still slightly disheveled, but in front of Tang San, they showed no intention of covering up, giggling as they surrounded him. After such a long time of recuperation in the Golden Valley, they were no longer the gaunt, sallow girls they were when they arrived. The Red Fox clan's bloodline-enhanced beauty was increasingly striking, each girl radiant and youthful, delicate and tender like blooming lotuses. Seeing a group of lively girls surrounding him, Tang San felt a bit overwhelmed and hurriedly said, "Stand still and quiet down." Seeing his serious expression, the Red Fox girls didn't dare to be reckless, quickly standing in place, their eyes filled with curiosity as they looked at Tang San. Tang San called Hong Yi over, saying, "How's your cultivation going? How's the progress with the ghost shadow perplexing step in purple demon eye I taught you?" Hong Yi hurriedly said, "Everyone's working hard on cultivation, but our bloodline density is limited. We're not progressing as quickly as we did initially. But last night, when the golden tree's aura changed, it seems our cultivation speed increased again. We've been practicing both the ghost shadow perplexing step and purple demon eye. Everyone's basically mastered the ghost shadow perplexing step. As you said, it works especially well with our Red Fox transformation. It's almost like an ability tailored for us." The Red Fox clan's Red Fox transformation granted the ability of illusion, particularly in creating phantom images. The Red Fox clan wasn't particularly adept at combat, but their illusion abilities were exceptional. Among the Fox clans, they weren't the best at seduction, but in terms of agility, speed, and illusionary realms, they were unmatched. Paired with the ghost shadow perplexing step Tang San taught, it was indeed a perfect match. Tang San nodded, saying, "Your individual strength is limited, but together, you can achieve great results. In the future, I'll teach you some combined attack techniques. When I return from this trip, we'll start. But you must keep working on your cultivation. Without sufficient cultivation to support it, even the best techniques won't be effective enough." "Yes, master," the Red Fox girls hurriedly bowed in agreement. Tang San said, "This time, I brought something back that should help you. However, I haven't tested it specifically, and there may be some risks. But I'll personally oversee the process. If I'm not mistaken, this item should address the bloodline issues you're facing. If you trust me, let's give it a try." Hong Yi hurriedly said, "Of course we trust master. Our lives are yours. Whatever you say, we'll do." Among the 18 Red Fox girls, Hong Yi wasn't the most beautiful, but she was the most mature in mind. Her tall figure was that of a grown young woman. When looking at Tang San, her eyes always carried a hint of admiration. Under such gazes, Tang San often had to remind himself not to get carried away. Facing these girls who seemed to believe he could take whatever he wanted, he remained constantly vigilant, not of the girls, but of himself, lest he entertain stray thoughts. Whenever facing them, he silently repeated Mei Gongzi's name in his heart to avoid any improper notions. For an ordinary young man, facing so many youthful, beautiful girls, it would likely be hard to resist. But Tang San's will was firm. Though he was kind to the girls, he always maintained a certain distance. This made the Red Fox girls both love and resent him. They loved that their master was a true gentleman, but resented that they needed a gentlemanly master. Tang San looked at Hong Yi, saying, "Then let's start with you. We'll go into the cave." Following the Red Fox girls into the cave, Tang San instructed the others to guard the entrance and prevent anyone from entering. He then had Hong Yi sit across from him, and he sat cross-legged opposite her. Hong Yi looked at Tang San curiously. Though Tang San always wore a mask, they had seen his true face. She could clearly feel that compared to their first meeting, Tang San's childishness had diminished significantly. His tall stature was already that of an adult. His clear eyes always carried a calm and wise brilliance. For some reason, whenever she was near him, Hong Yi felt an extraordinary sense of peace in her heart. A flash of light appeared in Tang San's hand, and the 3 foxtail relics obtained from the grand auction appeared in his palm. The moment the 3 foxtail relics appeared, all the Red Fox girls trembled. Almost simultaneously, they turned to look at Tang San. The weaker ones even staggered, only staying upright with the support of their sisters. The foxtail relics were 3 crystalline long needles, radiating a faint 7-colored glow, crystal clear. But upon closer inspection, one would notice they weren't identical. The differences lay mainly in their length and size. The longest foxtail relic was about 5 inches long, the shortest around 3.5 inches. Though they emitted a faint 7-colored halo, a closer look revealed a bright red, hair-like structure inside each crystalline relic, likely the source of their name. Tang San held the foxtail relics, his gaze fixed on Hong Yi as he asked, "Tell me, what do you feel right now?" Hong Yi's voice carried a hint of confusion, a bit dizzy, like my body's heating up, and there's a feeling of wanting to worship. Ah, my whole body's starting to feel hot. Chapter 436, The Role of the Foxtail Relic. A flash of divine light appeared in Tang San's eyes, and a mental power barrier instantly isolated him and Hong Yi, also shielding the foxtail relic's aura from the outside. This allowed the other Red Fox girls to quickly return to normal. But it was clear their sensations were similar to Hong Yi's, their faces flushed, some even starting to remove their outer garments. "Don't undress," Tang San hurriedly said. He hadn't expected this situation. His soft shout quickly woke the Red Fox girls, no longer influenced by the foxtail relics, their faces showing confusion. But at that moment, Hong Yi, sitting across from Tang San, let out a soft moan and suddenly lunged toward him. Tang San's heart stirred. He raised his left hand, his index finger pressing on Hong Yi's forehead, holding her body in place. "Focus your mind, calm your spirit," Tang San said in a deep voice. He infused his voice with a hint of the lighter clan's aura to shock her. Immediately, Hong Yi regained some clarity, but the flush on her delicate face became even more pronounced. A flash of light appeared in Tang San's hand, and he returned the 3 foxtail relics to his storage ring. Hong Yi's delicate body trembled slightly, faint heat radiating from her, as if she were drunk, swaying unsteadily. Tang San's left index finger remained on her forehead, silently sensing her current physical state. He found that Hong Yi's body was in a peculiar condition, her blood seemingly boiling, her pores fully open, eagerly absorbing the dense life aura in the air. Fortunately, this was the Golden Valley, with its rich life energy for her to absorb. In the outside world, such absorption of life aura would be impossible. Tang San silently calculated, if the life energy absorption was insufficient, with her blood boiling and burning like this, it would likely result in bloodline purification but a decline in vitality. He hadn't expected the foxtail relics to have such a significant effect. Weren't they supposed to calm the mind, prevent inner demons, and protect against bloodline backlash? Could their effect differ for the same clan? He had guessed correctly. The foxtail relics of various fox clans had the greatest effect on their own clan. The claims of preventing inner demons and bloodline backlash applied to other clans. For their own clan, they had the effect of purifying the bloodline. However, purifying the bloodline came with the side effect of significantly consuming vitality, making it a double-edged sword. Typically, it was only used when cultivation hit a bottleneck with no way to break through, and the effect diminished for higher-level Red Fox clan members. The Red Fox girls weren't true Red Fox clan members. Their bloodlines were thin, relying entirely on the Golden Valley's dense life force to gradually evolve and cultivate to their current level. The foxtail relics, treasures of this caliber for the Red Fox clan, were far too advanced for them, especially with 3 at once. Thus, when they sensed the relics' aura, their bloodlines immediately began to boil. Fortunately, the life energy here was sufficient, especially with the Golden Tree's recent fusion with the Golden Tree spirit essence releasing even greater life energy, preventing any dangerous situations. Though Tang San hadn't anticipated this situation, through sensing Hong Yi's physical state and her massive absorption of life energy to replenish herself, he quickly understood what was happening. His heart was instantly filled with great joy. In another place, using these relics to purify bloodlines would likely require vast amounts of natural treasures to offset the vitality loss from blood boiling and purification. But here, life energy was the one thing they didn't lack. In fact, the Red Fox clan's decision to auction their clan's treasure, the foxtail relics, involved some hidden stories. For any fox clan, the foxtail relics were the most precious treasures, absolutely their clan's sacred relics. But that was under the premise of having sufficient resources to support them. As Tang San had judged, using the foxtail relics to purify bloodlines required preparing vast amounts of natural treasures in advance. Where did these treasures come from? Naturally, they had to be exchanged for resources or bought with money. The Red Fox clan wasn't particularly wealthy, ranking lower among the fox clans. Whenever a clansman's cultivation hit a bottleneck, they used the foxtail relics to assist in breaking through, which had become customary. Red Fox clan members would actively apply for this at such times. But these applications weren't free, they required the clan's resources. The higher the level of advancement, the more natural treasures were consumed. Originally, the Red Fox clan could sustain itself through selling human vassals and having their exceptional fox clan girls serve as concubines for powerful clans, exchanging for enough resources to maintain the clan. However, hundreds of years ago, a major problem arose. Protected by major powerful clans, the Red Fox clan lived comfortably, leading to faster reproduction. With an increasing number of clansmen and high-level corruption, without strict rules for using the foxtail relics, resources were heavily depleted, and the clan grew poorer. By now, they were at a point of financial collapse. Yet, who among the high-ranking Red Fox clan didn't want their descendants to take this shortcut? Taking the shortcut required buying vast amounts of natural treasures to replenish vitality, making the clan increasingly poor, even reaching a highly dangerous state. The Red Fox clan's leadership had tried to ban the use of the foxtail relics, but could such treasures be easily forbidden? The leadership themselves often used them covertly. In the end, with no other options, they decided to auction them at the grand auction. The secrets of the foxtail relics were known only within the fox clans. The Red Fox clan had assumed another fox clan would buy the relics, allowing them to gain a large sum to solve their immediate crisis while accumulating time without the relics, planning to buy them back after weathering the toughest period. After all, the Red Fox clan's foxtail relics were most effective for their own clan, merely sacred objects for other fox clans. But they never expected an outsider to ultimately acquire the foxtail relics. Due to the presence of emperors on the first day, the Heavenly Fox Great Demon Emperor ordered all emperors not to participate in the rare item auction, allowing the 3 foxtail relics to fall into Tang San's hands. Otherwise, with the Heavenly Fox Great Demon Emperor's status as the king of the fox clans, he would have ensured the Red Fox clan temporarily held onto the relics. After learning it wasn't a fox clan that won the auction, the Red Fox clan had intended to negotiate with the buyer to resolve the matter, but Tang San had left immediately after the rare item auction, making it nearly impossible to find him. Now, it was clear that acquiring these 3 foxtail relics was a tremendous gain, offering far greater benefits to the Red Fox girls than imagined. As Tang San contemplated, Hong Yi finally began to regain clarity. "Master, I'm so hot, so thirsty," she murmured softly. Tang San said, "You can drink some water. I'm helping you purify your bloodline. After purification, your cultivation should yield twice the results with half the effort. Follow me." As he spoke, he stood up, pulling Hong Yi to her feet. Hong Yi now felt her entire body burning, an indescribable restlessness. In her eyes, Tang San seemed increasingly handsome. If not for her remaining clarity, she might have wanted to throw herself into his arms. This was the side effect of bloodline purification. The innate seductive nature of the Red Fox clan's bloodline was stimulated by the purification process. Chapter 437, The Role of the Foxtail Relic. Tang San brought her back to the side of the golden tree. The life energy here was the densest, and Hong Yi's body naturally absorbed the life energy. The parched feeling she had earlier immediately began to subside rapidly, and her gaze gradually became clearer. Tang San had her sit with her back to him, silently sensing the changes in her bloodline, his right hand pressed against her back. The boiling, purified bloodline, nourished by the life energy, was gradually growing stronger, and the bloodline density was noticeably increasing, rising at least 1 level higher than before. This would allow Hong Yi to advance at least 1 tier further in her cultivation. This was merely the result of being exposed to the foxtail relic's aura at close range. Tang San didn't force the bloodline purification further, as excessively increasing the purity too quickly might not be beneficial for Hong Yi's steady improvement. Like this was the safest approach. Otherwise, excessive consumption of vitality, even with external life energy support, could deplete her life essence, which would be troublesome and affect her lifespan. After confirming that Hong Yi's condition had stabilized, Tang San let her leave his side and called Hong Er over. Taking out the foxtail relic again, he let Hong Er be influenced by its aura, purifying her bloodline. This time, doing it directly beside the evolved golden tree, the process was even smoother than with Hong Yi. In no time, Hong Er's bloodline had also evolved. One by one, Tang San had the 18 Red Fox girls undergo bloodline purification before him. He also took this opportunity to carefully observe the girls' current cultivation status and realms. He discovered that during the bloodline purification process, the lower the cultivation, the better the purification effect. Hong 16, with the weakest realm at just under 4th tier, had the thinnest Red Fox clan bloodline originally. But stimulated by the foxtail relic, her bloodline purity directly rose to a level capable of cultivating to the 6th tier, crossing 2 major realms. This could absolutely be called an unexpected delight. With this round of bloodline enhancement, the Red Fox girls' cultivation should pose no issues for some time. With the foxtail relics in hand, conservatively, they likely wouldn't face bloodline issues before reaching the 9th tier. Combined with the dense life energy here, this was undoubtedly the best cultivation treasure land for these girls. After Hong 18's bloodline enhancement was complete, Tang San had them all return to the cave to continue cultivating and stabilize their realms. By this time, a whole day had passed, and it was evening. The girls returned to the cave, while Tang San held the 3 foxtail relics, carefully examining them. Among the 3 foxtail relics, the longest was over 5 inches, the second longest about 4.5 inches, and the shortest 3.5 inches. The aura emitted by each foxtail relic varied. The longest one had the strongest aura, with the densest 7-colored radiance. The other 2 were relatively weaker. From the condition of these 3 foxtail relics, Tang San could roughly judge that the shortest one likely came from a Red Fox clan demon king, a 10th tier powerhouse. The second longest was probably from a peak demon king, while the longest, over 5 inches, should have come from a Red Fox clan great demon king. In other words, the Red Fox clan had once produced a great demon king. Through this day's use and observation, Tang San was now certain that the foxtail relic's effects far surpassed that of essence blood, incomparable to it. The only side effect was the burning of vitality. While thinking, Tang San kept the shortest foxtail relic and put away the other two. Then, he slowly inserted the shortest foxtail relic into the tip of his left index finger. The foxtail relic was as sharp as a needle. The moment it pierced Tang San's finger, he didn't feel pain but a numbness at his fingertip. Immediately, he clearly felt a gentle aura flowing in, spreading instantly throughout his body, ultimately heading toward his mental sea. It was an aura without consciousness, yet it made his mind exceptionally clear, even causing his divine consciousness to stir slightly. In that moment, Tang San distinctly felt his mental power's conversion to divine consciousness accelerate slightly. Calming the mind and soothing the spirit. He didn't have the Red Fox clan's bloodline imprint, so the effect wasn't on his bloodline but the calming effect mentioned at the auction. Now, it seemed this effect was indeed quite remarkable. He couldn't figure out the principle immediately, but cultivating mental power with this foxtail relic clearly benefited his divine consciousness enhancement. This alone was invaluable to Tang San. However, he also faintly sensed that as his mental power converted to divine consciousness, some of his life energy was being absorbed by the foxtail relic. Trying it again, he became more certain of his earlier feeling. The foxtail relic was indeed absorbing his life energy. This was likely the foundation of its ability to maintain its divine nature, stabilizing mental energy through the absorption of life energy. In an environment with insufficient life energy, it would only have a calming effect. But when life energy was sufficient and the user didn't resist the absorption, it not only calmed but also enhanced mental clarity. Moreover, this effect was likely limited for demon clans and spirit races. Considering the cost of natural treasures, the cost-effectiveness of enhancing divine consciousness wasn't high. Otherwise, the Red Fox clan would never have auctioned it for money. But for Tang San, or rather for humans, it was different. Especially for Tang San, with 3 lifetimes, he brought not only the mysterious heaven technique, ghost shadow perplexing step, mysterious jade hand, and his previous life's experiences but also the knowledge from his first life. In his first life as a Tang sect disciple, Tang sect cultivation, including the mysterious heaven technique, involved knowledge of acupuncture points. The human body has 36 major acupuncture points and 108 minor ones. These acupuncture points are critical areas where nerves or qi and blood converge. Most major acupuncture points are fatal, such as the Baihui point at the crown of the head, the Lingtai point at the center of the back, and the Tanjiang point at the chest, which can be lethal if struck forcefully. But in the cultivation of the mysterious heaven technique, the key is to better channel qi and blood through these points, which is the cultivation route. Making these acupuncture points more open is the necessary path to improving cultivation. The process of cultivating the mysterious heaven technique is one of continuously opening these acupuncture points, generating internal energy. When Tang San absorbed heaven and earth's spiritual energy, he used mental power to open all his acupuncture points, achieving twice the results with half the effort. Thus, with the 3 foxtail relics in Tang San's hands, using his knowledge of acupuncture points to treat the relics as golden needles to stimulate them would naturally enhance the effect. The primary focus would likely be the head's acupuncture points. Of course, this required time to experiment, starting with minor points, as major points posed some risk. This was why Tang San began experimenting with the weakest of the 3 foxtail relics. Starting too intensely could disrupt his divine consciousness. Moreover, for now, such cultivation could only be done beside the golden tree. In a place with insufficient life energy, it would lead to qi and blood loss or vitality depletion, making it not worth the cost. After a night of experimentation, Tang San had basically grasped its intricacies. At least he could now use the foxtail relic to stimulate minor acupuncture points on his head to accelerate his mental power's conversion to divine consciousness, with quite good results. His mental power, already at the 9th tier peak and near saturation, benefited greatly from this stimulation, consuming mental power to convert to divine consciousness. The consumed mental power could be slowly recovered, far faster than cultivating divine consciousness directly. Chapter 438, Return to the Ancestral Court. Using the foxtail relic to stimulate and recover divine consciousness was much faster than slowly converting mental power on his own. This was without daring to stimulate major acupuncture points. The enhancement of divine consciousness naturally brought significant benefits. For instance, if his divine consciousness was strong enough, Tang San could even use it to suppress his cultivation realm, slowing his advancement but making it more condensed, concentrated, and pure, preparing for the most challenging moment of breaking through to godhood. The next morning, Tang San checked the Red Fox girls' conditions again, confirming they had no issues and their cultivation speeds had greatly increased. With that, his matters in the Golden Valley were concluded. Bidding farewell to everyone, including the Lighter Clan Grand Elder, Tang San spread his wings and took flight, leaving the Jiali Mountains once more, heading straight back to the Ancestral Court. His affairs in the Ancestral Court were far from finished. At the White Tiger Grand Hotel, the Ice Maiden clan's leader was still waiting for him. The divine artifact, the Frozen Throne, wasn't something Tang San absolutely needed, but for Wu Bingji, it would be an absolute cultivation treasure. He had to find a way to reach an agreement with the Ice Maiden clan. As long as he could help the Ice Maiden clan resolve their troubles, it shouldn't be too difficult in theory. He sped along, racing back at full speed. Tang San was in an excellent mood. He had seen Mei Gongzi, and the Lighter Sword Saint had decided to venture out for the God-slaying sword. The Red Fox girls had also improved, and the Golden Valley, with the addition of the Golden Tree Spirit Essence, had greatly strengthened its foundation, with immense potential for future growth. Once the Golden Tree could return to its former glory, it would be a god-level cultivation aid, greatly benefiting humanity. This trip to the Ancestral Court had yielded an incredibly rich harvest. If not for the intangible pressure from that little girl Jingjing, this journey could be described as perfect. For now, the most important thing for Tang San was to quickly enhance his strength, not just his own but also his companions'. The greatest test he would face next was when the Crystal Phoenix Great Demon Emperor returned to Jiali City. The Peacock Great Demon King clearly couldn't withstand this Crystal Phoenix Great Demon Emperor again. Thus, how to help Mei Gongzi ascend to her position and protect Jiali City was of utmost importance. Scaring off the Crystal Phoenix Great Demon Emperor like last time was obviously not easy, and if the Sea God appeared again, it might attract scrutiny from the Ancestral Court's powerhouses, which was a problem. Tang San didn't want to bring major trouble to the Endless Blue Sea. The most critical thing now was time. Time was pressing. If worst came to worst, he would have to let Mei Gongzi abandon everything in Jiali City and take her and her mother to hide in the Golden Valley. Though this was something neither the Redemption Organization nor Mei Gongzi would want, if it came to that, there would be no other choice. With insufficient strength, they could only take things one step at a time, but some preparations had to be made in advance. At the very least, they needed to ensure they could escape if necessary. Flying along, Tang San mentally planned how to face the upcoming situation. What would the best-case scenario be, and how to handle it? What about the worst-case scenario? Lost in thought, after a long flight, the Ancestral Court came into view in the distance. Tang San descended from the sky. Of course, he couldn't fly indirectly, that would be suicidal. He now had noble identification, so entering the ancestral court on foot would face no obstructions. He had given the tokens of the Crystal Great Demon Emperor and the Heavenly Fox Great Demon Emperor to Mei Gongzi, and the Sword Saint Great Demon Emperor's token to the Golden Lion clan. He had no tokens to signify his status, so it was best to proceed cautiously. This time, Tang San had two places he needed to visit in the ancestral court, the sacred mountains of the two-peak spirit race Great Demon Emperors. Having never been to the Empire of the Sun, his understanding of the spirit races was far less than that of the demon clans. But in his previous life, his blue-silver emperor martial soul was plant-based. In this life, though his blue-silver emperor was growing steadily, its level was still insufficient. He hoped to see what encounters he might have by climbing the sacred mountains of the celestial young heavenly spirit emperor and the earthian heavenly spirit emperor. Ideally, he could obtain their tokens to pave the way for his future. Entering the ancestral court on foot was obviously more troublesome than arriving by carriage last time, primarily due to inspections. The heavenly spirit chamber's convoy clearly had high-level clearance, facing minimal checks. But entering on foot as a human, Tang San faced inspection after inspection, passing 6 checkpoints before finally re-entering the ancestral court. Gazing at the towering palaces and the ring of sacred mountain statues on the outskirts, Tang San put on his hood and quickly headed toward the White Tiger Grand Hotel. Based on time calculations, it would take the Lighter Sword Saint couple some time to reach the ancestral court. The Lighter Sword Saint had noble status, having already completed the 10 consecutive team battle wins at the ancestral court Grand Arena. But Little Cat likely didn't. They would probably have Big Cat come find him. Given their speed, reaching the ancestral court would take about 5 to 7 days. During this time, he needed to handle all necessary matters as quickly as possible to save time. Near the White Tiger Grand Hotel, Tang San didn't return to his room first but contacted Zhang Haoshuan. Within the ancestral court's range, the communicator could connect. "Teacher, I'm back," Tang San sent a message to Zhang Haoshuan. He quickly received a response, "You're finally back. I was really worried while you were gone. But fortunately, you left early. The Fox clan was looking for you everywhere. The Heavenly Spirit Chamber was quite reliable. They guaranteed your identity and likely didn't reveal your origins or whereabouts." A smile appeared at the corner of Tang San's mouth. The Red Fox clan looking for him was perfectly normal. The foxtail relics were extremely important. If they had fallen into the hands of their own clan, there was still a chance to retrieve them, but in the hands of an outsider, where could they search? Though they gained a large sum, for the Red Fox clan, the loss was too great. Of course, he would never return the foxtail relics. "Teacher, how was the divine item auction day afterward? Were there good things?" Tang San was most curious about this. If time had allowed, he would have stayed to see what treasures the divine item auction would offer. Zhang Haoshuan said with a sigh-filled voice, "There were too many good things. 6 emperors alone attended. In reality, very few divine items ended up with bidders. It was more like a distribution of benefits prepared for top powerhouses and major clans. Many good things were taken by the strong. The final 3 highlighted items were true divine artifacts." "What were they?" Tang San asked curiously. Zhang Haoshuan said, "I won't mention the earlier ones. The truly top-tier natural treasures appeared on the divine item auction day. There was even something that could transform a mortal body directly to the divine level, though the heavenly tribulation still had to be faced. The final 3 items were 2 weapons and a shield, all true divine artifacts. One weapon and the shield were inherited from past emperors. The other weapon was actually crafted by a master forger, reportedly taking a long time and vast resources to complete. It was meant for the ancestral court, but the court couldn't decide how to distribute it, so it was placed in the divine item auction for the emperors to compete over, and one emperor ultimately took it." Chapter 439, Huang Bingbing. Listening to Zhang Haoshuan describe the divine item auction day, Tang San couldn't help but feel a sway in his heart. If he had the chance, he really wanted to participate fully in the divine item auction day. Bidding on these top-tier treasures would greatly deepen his understanding of this world and be immensely helpful. "Are everyone still climbing the sacred mountains for cultivation?" Tang San asked. Zhang Haoshuan said, "Yes, they've been cultivating diligently lately, and the results should be good. They don't know you left early, I didn't tell them." Tang San said, "Then please inform them to gather tonight for a meeting. Book a Demon King level room." "All right." Zhang Haoshuan didn't ask what Tang San wanted to discuss, agreeing immediately. Tang San ended the communication and headed toward the White Tiger Grand Hotel. When he neared the hotel's entrance, he was surprised. The number of guests entering and exiting the hotel had noticeably increased, and not just by a little. The White Tiger Grand Hotel's prices weren't affordable for everyone. On normal days, there were guests, but never this bustling. Many guests were passing through the entrance. Entering the lobby, it was half filled with various demon and spirit race members. What was going on? Tang San was puzzled but didn't ask. Observing silently for a while, he noticed that while the guests in the lobby were from various clans, they were relatively young. He didn't sense any god-level powerhouses. But in terms of bloodlines, they were almost all from powerful clans, with 3rd-tier bloodline demon and spirit race members being rare, most were around 2nd tier. He even saw members of the Time Crocodile clan. Without lingering, Tang San went straight upstairs, already familiar with the place. Arriving outside his previous hotel room, Tang San knocked on the door. Soon, a cold voice came. "Who is it?" "It's me, clan leader," Tang San replied. The door opened quickly. The Ice Maiden clan leader's refined face appeared in Tang San's eyes. Unlike the grand attire at the auction or the armor formed by the Frozen Throne later, today the clan leader wore a simple gray dress with suspenders, revealing her snow-white shoulders. Her perfect figure, paired with her cold temperament, was stunning. The contrast between her cold demeanor and the casual dress created a strong visual impact for Tang San. The Ice Maiden clan leader stepped aside to let Tang San enter. Closing the door, Tang San, still wearing his mask, followed the clan leader into the living room. The Ice Maiden clan leader glanced at him, saying, "You're quite extravagant. This is the most expensive hotel in the ancestral court, the White Tiger Great Demon Emperor's property." Tang San gave a wry smile, saying, "If I said I came to the ancestral court for the first time, stumbled upon this hotel, and just checked in, would you believe me?" The Ice Maiden clan leader said, "That's not important. Let's talk business." Tang San nodded, saying, "Then let me give a detailed introduction first. My name is Shira, and I'm human. I came to the ancestral court mainly to cooperate with the Heavenly Spirit Chamber for some business dealings. That day, seeing your frozen throne and hearing about the problems your clan faces, I had some ideas and wondered if we could collaborate. If possible, I'll do my best to help resolve the issues the Ice Maiden clan is facing." The Ice Maiden clan leader said calmly, "My name is Huang Bingbing. You know all about my clan's problems. Then tell me how to solve them." Tang San was somewhat unaccustomed to the clan leader's directness but said, "Your clan faces 2 problems. One is an inability to make money, leading to financial strain. Since she was so straightforward, he didn't beat around the bush. In short, the Ice Maiden clan was poor. From this auction, Tang San realized that the wealth disparity among demon and spirit clans was likely significant. Clans like the Ice Maiden clan and Red Fox clan were facing poverty, something he hadn't expected. Huang Bingbing showed no embarrassment, merely nodding. The other problem should be inheritance and producing offspring, right? Tang San said again. Huang Bingbing nodded again. Correct, those are the two problems. Tang San said, if I'm not mistaken, these two problems are even tied to the Ice Maiden clan's survival. Otherwise, you wouldn't have casually put the frozen throne up for auction. Huang Bingbing's expression finally turned somewhat grim, her face icy as she said, tell me your solution. Talking about other things is pointless. Tang San said, before discussing solutions, I need to know more about the Ice Maiden clan, such as how many clansmen you have, their living conditions, and what specific issues you face in producing offspring. Why didn't these problems exist before? Huang Bingbing's gaze suddenly turned cold. You said at the auction you could solve the problem. So you don't actually know the full situation. Do you want to die? I can make that happen. The room's temperature instantly dropped, and a powerful oppressive force made Tang San feel his body stiffen slightly. Tang San, helpless, quickly raised both hands in surrender, saying, don't get upset yet. Hear me out. I indeed don't know the exact problems of the Ice Maiden clan, but I think I've shown enough sincerity. As he spoke, he pointed at the storage bracelet on Huang Bingbing's wrist. That was 5,000 element coins. Had this clan leader forgotten she'd already taken the money? How could she turn hostile so quickly? Huang Bingbing paused, seemingly recalling the substantial wealth she'd received. Her expression softened, and the chill in the air dissipated. Tang San continued, I naturally have a great fondness for the Ice Maiden clan. Mainly because one of my human companions has inherited the ice spirit transformation of your clan. What did you say? Huang Bingbing's beautiful eyes widened instantly, staring intently at Tang San. A human, inherited our ice spirit transformation. How is that possible? Tang San was stunned too, not possible. He indeed hadn't seen another human with the ice spirit transformation, but he instinctively thought that since it was a spirit race inheritance, it being rare in the Celestial Empire was normal. But from Huang Bingbing's expression, it was clear this was highly unusual, or she wouldn't be so shocked. Of course it's not possible. Our clan is all female. How could our clansmen? As she spoke, a blush rose on Huang Bingbing's cold face, her aura becoming unsteady. Tang San instantly understood the meaning behind her words. In other words, Wu Bingji, with the ice spirit transformation, was different from other human vassals. Most human vassals originated from human women being persecuted by male demon or spirit race members, giving birth to offspring. But the Ice Maiden clan was all female, with no males. This meant a human male and an Ice Maiden clan girl had produced Wu Bingji. This, Tang San and Huang Bingbing locked eyes, the atmosphere suddenly becoming somewhat strange. But the fact is indeed so my companion truly has the ice spirit transformation, Tang San said tentatively. Huang Bingbing flashed to his side, come, take me to see him. I need to see it with my own eyes to confirm his identity. Tang San hurriedly stood up, giving a wry smile, clan leader, don't rush. My companion is currently cultivating on the sacred mountain, but he'll be back tonight. You'll definitely see him then. Shouldn't we first clarify the Ice Maiden clan's situation? That way, I can better judge how to help you. Chapter 440, The Ice Maiden clan's problems. What exactly are you trying to do? Huang Bingbing stared at him with a cold gaze. Tang San spread his hands, saying, I'm not trying to do anything, nor do I have the slightest intention of harming the Ice Maiden clan. I can offer solutions tailored to the Ice Maiden clan's situation. If you think my suggestions aren't reliable, we simply won't cooperate. Those 5,000 element coins can be considered a gift to you, I won't take them back. With that money, it should alleviate the Ice Maiden clan's financial crisis for quite a while, right? So, listening to my suggestions won't do you any harm. Huang Bingbing had regained her calm by now, but learning that a human had inherited the ice spirit transformation had clearly shaken her significantly. Sitting back on the sofa, her gaze toward Tang San changed slightly, seeming to relax compared to before. At least she knew there was a reason behind Tang San's offer to help the Ice Maiden clan. Our clan's finances have indeed encountered problems. This starts with our clan's origins, Huang Bingbing said calmly. Our Ice Maiden clan is born from ice spirit bodies within 10,000-year mysterious ice. We are naturally pure and untainted. She deliberately emphasized the last 4 words. Tang San hurriedly nodded repeatedly. At this moment, he didn't dare touch her sensitive spot. Huang Bingbing continued, after gaining sentience, we naturally possess the ability to control ice elements, becoming masters of ice. Our clansmen were born one after another, and after countless years, we formed a clan. It can be said that we are one of the oldest races in the Empire of the Sun, living at the northernmost end of the fairy continent. Our Ice Maiden clan's members are all born as females, and we don't know why this is our method of producing offspring is through division. We split a small part of our divine consciousness and combined it with new 10,000-year mysterious ice to nurture a spirit embryo, which, after years of gestation, gives birth to a new member. Tang San asked, how long does this gestation process take? Huang Bingbing said, about 100 years or so. Tang San was momentarily speechless. 100 years to give birth, perhaps the longest pregnancy cycle ever. Then the Ice Maiden clan must have been very powerful when it was first born, right? Tang San said. Huang Bingbing said proudly, of course. When we were first born, we were the darlings of ice elements, naturally attuned to them, at the 3rd tier realm. By adulthood, even without cultivating, we could become 6th tier ice element controllers. This doesn't sound that strong, Tang San thought to himself but didn't interrupt her this time. Huang Bingbing continued, our Ice Maiden clan has always passed down our legacy this way. How could we have any connection with humans and produce offspring? Tang San said, how many clansmen does the Ice Maiden clan have now, and why has there been a problem with inheritance? Hearing his question, Huang Bingbing paused, then said, because we lack money. To produce offspring, we need to find 10,000-year mysterious ice with sufficient age, but this requires going to the northernmost part of the continent, consuming vast resources each time, whether for transportation or otherwise. Cultivation also requires resources. Though we live in the north, where ice elements are abundant, the heaven and earth spiritual energy isn't dense enough. The densest spiritual energy is here in the ancestral court. Thus, the instances of 10,000-year mysterious ice possessing spirituality have become fewer. To produce offspring, we need to cut more of our divine consciousness. Our cultivation has also encountered problems, making producing offspring even harder, so our race has become increasingly challenged. Her explanation was somewhat chaotic, but Tang San vaguely grasped the issue from her words. In other words, the area where you originally lived had sufficient heaven and earth spiritual energy, and 10,000-year mysterious ice, absorbing this energy, could naturally produce clansmen. Your own division of divine consciousness to produce offspring also requires spiritually sufficient mysterious ice. But now, such ice is decreasing. At the same time, to produce offspring, the Ice Maiden clan must reach the divine level, as only divine level beings have divine consciousness to split. Now, because the spiritual energy in your living area is insufficient, your cultivation speed slows, fewer divine level beings emerge, and producing offspring becomes harder. You also lack money to buy natural treasures, creating a vicious cycle. Tang San analyzed the situation logically for the clan leader. That's exactly it. Huang Bingbing nodded. Though she hadn't explained it clearly, her comprehension was fine. Tang San's heart cleared, understanding the root of the problem. He pressed his brow, releasing mental power to isolate the room from the outside. Huang Bingbing raised an eyebrow but quickly returned to normal, understanding what he was doing. After isolating the outside, Tang San said, I understand the problems you face. And I even know the reason behind them. Huang Bingbing said in surprise, what's the reason? Tang San sighed, saying, your Ice Maiden clan used to be completely self-sufficient, right? The 10,000-year mysterious ice-born there was sufficient, and the spiritual energy was enough for you to cultivate to the divine level, continuing to produce offspring. Yes, Huang Bingbing nodded. Tang San said, have you ever considered why the spiritual energy in your area suddenly became insufficient? Huang Bingbing was stunned, silently shaking her head. From their conversation, Tang San could sense that the Ice Maiden clan was a very pure race, as Huang Bingbing said, pure and untainted. The reason is simple, the continent's luck is being concentrated toward the center. You're at the edge of the continent, where the spiritual energy is naturally the thinnest, Tang San said with a wry smile. This was different from Jiali City. As a main city, Jiali City was a hub of luck, so while its spiritual energy wasn't as dense as the ancestral courts, it was still fine. This was likely handled deliberately when the main cities were built, but the Ice Maiden clan, not part of any main city and in the far north, had its luck siphoned toward the continent's center, making the spiritual energy increasingly thin. This was the key to the Ice Maiden clan's problems. What do you mean? Huang Bingbing stared at him with wide eyes. Tang San said, simply put, the ancestral court is gathering luck, concentrating the luck of the entire fairy continent, even the entire Falon planet, toward the center. As luck grows here, the edges of the continent, like your far north, lose luck. Consequently, the spiritual energy weakens, as it's drawn to the center. This is the core of the problem you face. Now Huang Bingbing understood, her eyes widening as she stared at Tang San. You mean the ancestral court is plundering our resources, causing our inheritance issues? Tang San nodded silently, saying, theoretically, yes. Bastards, I knew it, how could our spiritual energy keep getting thinner? Huang Bingbing erupted in anger, her icy face instantly showing indignation. She stood up abruptly, about to rush out. From their earlier conversation, Tang San had gained some understanding of her personality and anticipated she might react this way. He quickly flashed in front of her, blocking her path. Get out of the way. Huang Bingbing raised her hand to strike at him. Tang San's right hand traced an arc, deflecting her palm to the side. Clan leader, don't get angry. That won't help.